Chapter 278. For other sects, this spirit congealing pill is as simple as having 5 more core condensation cultivators, but for Yi Tianyun, it's the birth of a large number of core condensation cultivator. As long as he uses the appraisal eye, the pill recipe will become his. He has the alchemy proficiency skill, but it doesn't mean that he knows all the pill recipes. For example, he doesn't know the recipe for refining the spirit congealing pill. This spirit congealing pill. I must get it. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed with a bit of desire. This is the treasure he needs very much now. Many people are ready to make a move. This spirit congealing pill is also a bit of desire for them. Core condensation may not be a big deal, but it can be used to train young disciples, so that they can break through to core condensation early, so that they can enter a higher realm faster. I believe that everyone is very interested in this spirit congealing pill. This spirit congealing pill can indeed be used as a divine pill to train disciples, but this kind of pill is really rare. Li Ya was very satisfied when she saw their expressions, and immediately said with a smile, "The bidding method for the spirit congealing pill is very normal. You only need to pay the normal amount of spirit jade stones. If you don't have enough spirit jade stones to pay, you can use medicinal pills or weapons instead. Then prepare to start the bidding. The starting price of the spirit congealing pill is 5,000 spirit jade stones. Each increment must not be less than 500 spirit jade stone. Now start the bidding. 10,000 spirit jade stones." Yi Tianyun's voice was immediately thrown out. Many people were shocked by him again. Although they couldn't see his face, they couldn't help but look at him. The price has been raised to 10,000 spirit jade stones. How can other people compete with him? Li Ya's eyes showed a bit of surprise. She didn't expect Yi Tianyun to be interested in this pill. 10,000 spirit jade stones. Immediately, other people began to call out prices, but they were all in the VIP rooms. The prices in the later stages were too expensive, and it was not suitable for the cultivators sitting in the front to buy. Only those sitting in the VIP room are eligible to buy it. 15,000 spirit jade stones. Yi Tianyun didn't want to talk too much nonsense. He doesn't have much right now, but he has a lot of spirit jade stones. After killing so many core transformation stage powerhouses, the wealth on their bodies would definitely be enough for him to spend for a long time. He didn't dare to say that it was a lot of money, but he could still take out at least 100,000 spiritual jade stones, so he had to get this spirit congealing pill. Raising the price by another 5,000 spirit jade stones made many people speechless. Even if he had money, raising the price by 5,000 spirit jade stones so casually was a little too extravagant, wasn't it? 16,000 jade spirit stones. The other guests in the VIP rooms called out another price, but they wouldn't raise the price by 5,000 like Yi Tianyun did. This price was still too high for them. 20,000 jade spirit stones. Yi Tianyun raised the price by 5,000 again. He didn't treat money as money at all. Pervert. A burst of cursing came from the VIP lounge. How were they supposed to play with this price? Even if they could call out a higher price, it would be too much of a loss if they continued like this. 5 spirit congealing pills are good things, but if the price continues to go up, it is not worth it. 20,000 spirit jade stones. Is there anyone who has a higher price? Li Ya looked around. This price was set too quickly. She thought that she could go up with a higher price. It seems that many people are still very rational. If they continue to go up, it is not worth it at all. After a while, no one continued to bid. Li Ya said, "Then congratulations to this friend. These 5 spirit congealing pills will belong to him." After this matter was over, many people couldn't help but take a look. How did such a rich person appear this time? The spirit congealing pill is not bad, but it is not enough to compete so fiercely, unless it is the pill formula of the spirit congealing pill. Otherwise it is really not worth continuing to bid. If it is the pill formula of the spirit congealing pill, then everyone will really go crazy. The price will definitely soar to the extreme. 5 spirit congealing pills can be sold at this price. What if it is a pill formula that can be used to refine pills? Thinking about it carefully, it is scary, but generally people will not sell the pill formula. This is too much of a loss. You can hold the pill formula, only you can refine it, so you can make a continuous stream of money. Why not? This is simply a monopoly. The price can definitely be raised higher. Next, it's the last treasure. Li Ya's voice was a little louder, attracting everyone's attention. Immediately something was carried up, and soon the red cloth was pulled. A treasure appeared in front of everyone, a round crystal ball. This treasure is called the Heaven Spirit Treasure. If worn on the body, it can increase your cultivation speed. This effect is roughly 30%. This means that wearing the Heaven Spiritual Treasure to cultivate will give me more time to cultivate. Li Ya glanced at the crowd and said, I believe for all cultivators. What does this mean? It means that you can run faster than others, become stronger faster. The benefits of the Heaven Spirit Treasure. Even the strong cultivators of the Spirit Core stage can use it. When this announcement came out, many people were shocked. They all stared at the Heaven Spirit Treasure. This is a rare and good thing. The effect of increasing the cultivation speed by 30% is absolutely a heaven-defying effect. Great, this is mine. I also want it. Even the Spirit Core stage can have an effect. This is definitely a high-grade soul tool. Don't fight with me. This old man wants it. They are all very interested in this treasure. They all have a feeling that they must get it. Li Ya is very satisfied with their situation. This is what she needs, so that the price can be higher. The Heaven Spirit Treasure is not a high-grade soul tool. It is a supreme-grade soul tool. It can be said that it is even rarer. The starting price is 50,000 Sky Spirit Stones. Each bid cannot be lower than 2,000 Jade Spirit Stones. Let the bidding begin. This is the last and strongest treasure, a treasure that can provoke everyone's nerves. 60,000 Sky Spirit Stones. Damn, who wants to compete with me? 65,000 Sky Spirit Stones, 70,000 Sky Spirit Stones. I want it. All of them are going crazy, and the price is constantly skyrocketing, even crazier than Yi Tianyun. But as the price continued to rise, there was no sound from the VIP room where Yi Tianyun was. This made many people feel a little disappointed. They thought it would be more intense. It seems that Yi Tianyun is not going to make a move. In the VIP room, Yi Tianyun drank tea. Looking at the Heaven Spirit Treasure below, he has no interest at all. Increasing the cultivation speed by 30% is simply rubbish to him. It is not meaningful to him if his cultivation speed is not increased by dozens of times. Chapter 279. Yi Tianyun didn't move at all, he just watched them fight for the treasure. Yi Tianyun knew that a 30% increase in cultivation speed was already very amazing, but he had a better one, so he wasn't interested at all. Yi Tianyun didn't make a bid, which made many people lose interest in him. They didn't expect that Yi Tianyun wouldn't make a bid. Was it because Yi Tianyun ran out of money? Li Ya was also very disappointed. She thought that she would see a higher price, but it seemed that she couldn't attract Yi Tianyun's attention. However, even without Yi Tianyun, the price continued to rise. 90,000 Spirit Jade. Another hoarse voice rang out. 90,000 spiritual jade stones was already quite a high price. It was estimated that the person had thrown caution to the wind and had bet all of his wealth on it. It wasn't because he lost his mind, but because his cultivation speed was very fast. After the 90,000 spirit jade stones were shouted out, there was no other sound. Everyone fell into silence. 90,000 spirit jades was too high, many people couldn't afford it. 90,000 spirit jades, is there a higher price? Li Ya continued to shout. After shouting a few more times, Li Ya pointed to the VIP room and congratulated Yi Tianyun. Congratulations, friend, for successfully obtaining this heavenly spirit treasure. Now that all the treasures have been sold, please come again next time. Li Ya smiled. This auction was finally a success. This was her first time on the stage, so she couldn't help but feel nervous. Fortunately, everything was done perfectly. If you have successfully obtained a treasure, please come to the backstage. Li Ya added. Yi Tianyun got up and walked out of the door. Not long after she walked out of the door, someone immediately stopped her. Wait. Yi Tianyun turned his head and heard the voice. It was Li Hao, the self-proclaimed Chief Divine Rune Grandmaster of the Netherworld Empire. What's the matter? Yi Tianyun looked at Li Hao. Li Hao's cultivation was indeed not low. He had reached the 3rd level of the core transformation stage. Although Yi Tianyun didn't know whether Li Hao was really a Chief Divine Rune Grandmaster or not, his cultivation was very high. Which faction are you from? Li Hao looked at him coldly. Behind him, there were a few disciples whose cultivation was also not weak. They were all at the core condensation stage, but Li Hao didn't know what level of divine rune master they were. I don't belong to any sect. Is there a problem? Yi Tianyun naturally wouldn't tell them his name. To them, there was nothing to say. No sect. Do you know our Netherworld Empire? Li Hao said in a cold voice. I'll give you a chance, hand over the spirit jade stones and I can let you live. The Netherworld Empire is in great need of this spirit jade stone. As long as you give it to me, I won't hold you accountable for what you did just now. Your Netherworld Empire needs it, but I don't. Yi Tianyun wasn't afraid of causing trouble, especially for the Netherworld Empire. No matter how many people came, he would kill them. Very good, you're very courageous. Li Hao sneered, then take this spirit jade stone, let's see if you can hold it or not. After saying that, Li Hao left with his people. He didn't want to embarrass Yi Tianyun. The most important thing is that Star Pavilion has a clear rule. That is, no one can make a move here. Otherwise, Li Tianlong will investigate to the end. If someone robbed the spirit jade stone right after they bought it, then where would the Star Pavilion's face go? So at least it can be guaranteed that it won't be robbed in the Star Pavilion, but outside the Star Pavilion is not necessarily the same. Once they left the city, the Star Pavilion would have nothing to do with them. If they wanted to protect everyone, the Star Pavilion wouldn't be able to do it. Therefore, even if Li Hao was a member of the Netherworld Empire, he must abide by this rule. Yi Tianyun looked at Li Hao's departing figure, his eyes flashed with killing intent, but it quickly disappeared. After entering the backstage area, there were already quite a few people there who had already started to pay their bills and collect their treasures. Li Hao was one of them. When he saw Yi Tianyun coming, his eyes flashed with coldness, but he didn't continue to speak ill of him. Young master, you're here. Li Yue walked over with a middle-aged man beside her. She introduced, this is the seller of the Sky Soul Stones. According to your previous offer, you'll have to pay at least 850 low-grade soul armaments. How are you going to pay now? I'll pay with high-grade soul tools. Is there a problem? Yi Tianyun looked at the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man's cultivation is not low, he is at the 7th level of spirit core stage. He must be an elder of a big sect or a palace lord. No problem, as long as it's a weapon. The middle-aged man said. Well, we'll pay with high-grade soul tools. Yi Tianyun took out a high-grade soul tool and handed it over. This is a high-grade soul tool, you can appraise it yourself. The middle-aged man took it and looked at it carefully. He was surprised. Good blade, it looks good, but there are no divine runes engraved on it. I left it for you to engrave your own divine runes. Isn't it better to engrave your own divine runes? Yi Tianyun smiled lightly. These are all dropped by the strong, naturally there won't be any divine runes engraved on it. It's already quite good that there are some effects on it. This is very good, I like it. The middle-aged man smiled. I like this blade very much, it's worth 160 low-grade soul tools. What do you think? Okay. Yi Tianyun is very satisfied with the price. The middle-aged man didn't deliberately cheat him. Then he took out another blade. The middle-aged man inspected it one by one. His eyes were full of surprise. Just taking out 4 high-grade soul tools was more than enough to cover the price. He didn't really need 850 soul tools at all. Good, very good. The middle-aged man smiled with satisfaction. It's a pleasure to cooperate with you. I am Fang Ji, an elder of Brahma Mansion. If there is a chance, we will continue to cooperate next time. It turned out to be Elder Fang of Brahma Mansion. If there is a chance, we will continue to cooperate next time. Yi Tianyun smiled. It turned out to be an elder of Brahma Mansion. No wonder his cultivation is not low. He just didn't know where these complete spirit jade stones came from, but he didn't ask about it, so he didn't say it. After this transaction, it was followed by spirit congealing pill. Directly paid a large amount of spirit jade stones. There was no problem. The person who gave the spirit congealing pill was an alchemist. His cultivation was also not low, but he didn't mean to make friends with Yi Tianyun. He didn't worry about selling this kind of pill, so there was no need for more communication, so Yi Tianyun was too lazy to pay attention to him. Chapter 280. Soon, Yi Tianyun finished the transaction. He has everything he needs. including the spirit congealing pill. He needs to find a place to read the pill's formula first. By that time, he will be able to refine a batch of pills and give it to Heavenly Jade Sect and Heaven's top mansion. Especially Heavenly Jade Sect, there are a lot of disciples who are above 8th or 9th level of spirit refinement, so with a batch of pills, there will be a large number of core condensation cultivators. Now that he has the Jade Spirit Stone, he can go back and inlay it on the array. This trip had not been a waste at all, and he was quite satisfied. Young master, are you not interested in that heavenly spirit treasure? Li Ya asked curiously. I don't have much interest in this kind of treasure. Yi Tianyun smiled. What's better than killing monsters to level up? As long as he had enough demonic beasts, and their levels were not low, he would be able to advance a level in a few days. Well, no matter what, I'm happy to cooperate with you. Li Ya smiled and said, how about this, why don't you stay in the Star Pavilion's private room for a while? At the same time, she sent a voice transmission to Yi Tianyun. Young master, in order to buy that batch of Jade Spirit Stone, you provoked the Netherworld Empire. He is a very ruthless person. After you go out, I'm afraid that you will easily encounter an accident. Stay in this room for a while and sneak away when they are not paying attention. Yi Tianyun squinted at her. He didn't expect Li Ya to be so kind to remind him, and he immediately felt a bit better. Miss Li, why are you reminding me in such a kind way? Yi Tianyun asked. The Netherworld Empire is notorious, this is already known to everyone, they are very overbearing. Young master bought things in the Star Pavilion, we will naturally protect you. But if you leave here, we can't do anything. Li Ya explained. Yi Tianyun nodded, this is quite a customer. The main thing is that the Netherworld Empire is too disgusting. Thank you, Miss Li. I still have important matters to attend to, so there's no need for that for now. These words were not transmitted, but spoken in front of her. On the side, Li Hao had been paying attention to every movement. When he heard that Yi Tianyun had refused to stay here, a cruel smile appeared on his face. This was exactly the result he wanted. If he were to stay here, it would be difficult to make a move, and it would be a waste of time. Young master. When Li Ya wanted to say something, he shook his head, indicating that he had already made up his mind. She could only sigh and stop trying to persuade him. After bidding farewell, Yi Tianyun walked out, not even sparing Li Hao a glance. Li Hao stared at his back, and soon after, he followed after him. When Li Ya saw this situation, she could only sigh. She really wanted to help but couldn't. Little did she know that Yi Tianyun liked this kind of situation. He wanted to punch them hard, and turn them into a big wave of treasures and experience. Why not? When he just walked out, someone immediately stopped in front of him. This person is the ordinary-looking woman who wanted to compete for the Jade Spirit Stone before. Yi Tianyun saw this person before, she immediately stopped in front of him. What's the matter? Yi Tianyun looked at her from head to toe, and the appraisal eye immediately exposed her situation. Mysterious woman, 3rd level core condensation stage, face disguised, wearing a low-grade soul tool treasure robe. Main martial art, Heavenly Spirit Finger, Heavenly Spirit Step. Defeated drop, Heavenly Spirit Talisman, Heavenly Spirit Finger, Heavenly Spirit Step, Grade 5 Divine Rune, randomly drops 1, 3rd level core condensation stage. This cultivation is not bad, not bad. But she looks very ordinary, the kind that would be hard to find in a crowd. Obviously, her aura is too strong. Under normal circumstances, it is impossible to judge her cultivation level. If he didn't have the appraisal eye, he wouldn't be able to sense her at a glance, unless he forcibly investigates. The key point is that the things dropped are related to Heavenly Spirit. Is she from Spirit Race? The appraisal I can't tell what race the other party is, this is too detailed, so it is not particularly clear. Maybe after leveling up, it will show. But judging from this, the woman in front of him should be from Spirit Race. If she is not from Spirit Race, she should not have changed her appearance. I don't know this young master, can you give me 2 Spirit Jade Stones? I can use other things to exchange for it. The woman said in a very pleasant voice, making people's hearts sway a little. Her tone is very sincere, but also very anxious. Oh, what are you going to exchange for it? Yi Tianyun was a little more interested. The most important thing is that the other party is from spirit race. If not, he is too lazy to pay attention to her. Thinking of spirit race, he thought of Xiao Qingxian. He doesn't know what happened to her. I can engrave divine rune for you. Anything within grade 5 is fine, the woman said solemnly. Any divine rune within grade 5 is fine? Yi Tianyun squinted at her. From her words, it is obvious that she is a grade 5 divine rune master. Worthy of being from spirit race, she is already a grade 5 divine rune master at such a young age. Yes, I don't want much, just 2 spirit jade stones. In exchange, I can engrave 4 divine runes within grade 5 for you. What do you think? The woman said anxiously, or I can give you some soul tools, I need them urgently. Is that so? Yi Tianyun looked at her and smiled faintly. I don't need any reward from you, just tell me one thing, and after you tell me, I will give you 2 jade spirit stones. What is it? The woman looked at him suspiciously. She does not know what information she can provide. What is the current situation of spirit race? Yi Tianyun asked. As soon as he finished speaking, the woman paused for a moment, then a cold light flashed across her eyes. She was shocked, but her tone was calm. I do not know the situation of spirit race, young lord. Now, this is the condition I am offering. Are you willing to accept? Her tone suddenly became cold, as if she was extremely wary of Yi Tianyun. But because of the spirit jade stones, she could not leave immediately. It seems that you are not willing to tell me the situation. Yi Tianyun smiled. Actually, I have a friend in spirit race. I just want to find out some information. There is no need to be so nervous. Since you are not willing to tell me, I will not force you to tell me anything. All right, come with me. The woman followed Yi Tianyun into a room, and Yi Tianyun faced her. Then he stretched out his hand. Give me the interspatial ring, I will put the spirit jade stones inside. The woman was surprised. She did not believe him. She did not even answer, and he was willing to give her the spirit jade stones. But the woman did not mind and immediately handed over the interspatial ring. Yi Tianyun transferred the spirit jade stones and gave it back to her. It's done, take it. Yi Tianyun felt that this woman is trustworthy. Even though the situation of spirit race is quite serious, with some traitors appearing, I believe that this woman is not a traitor. The reason is simple, at least she is not forcing him to buy it, and the price is very reasonable. Yi Tianyun has never been stingy with his generosity. This. The woman was stunned when she saw the spirit jade stones in the interspatial ring. She did not expect that Yi Tianyun would really give it to her. But she did not think too much and directly gave the other interspatial ring to Yi Tianyun, saying, "This is for you. There is not much, this is all I can do for now, I will repay you in the future." Then she turned around and left, without any hesitation. Chapter 281. This lass is really honest. Even if I gave it to her, she still wanted to get it back. Yi Tianyun inspected the items in the ring. She was really honest. She had clearly given it to him, but she still wanted to get it back. Furthermore, the value of the items she had given him was enough to buy the 2 spirit jade stones. However, she hadn't prepared enough items. The total value was only 500 low-grade soul tools, which was indeed her limit. Now that she had given him everything, it meant that he was going to earn a lot. Originally, there were 6 spirit jade stones, and the price was only 850 low-grade soul tools. She had given him back 500 low-grade soul tools. Anyone else would think that was the behavior of an idiot. This lass, she's so young, and she came out to help. I wonder what would happen if she got caught. Yi Tianyun shook his head. After a moment's thought, he walked out. Because she had changed her appearance, she looked older. However, according to Yi Tianyun's judgment, she couldn't be more than 20 years old. Most importantly, she was still young and inexperienced. She didn't even know how to bargain. He didn't know whether she was too generous or too insensible. As soon as he walked out, he saw Li Hao looking outside. He didn't know what he was looking at. When Li Hao saw Yi Tianyun come out, a cold smile appeared on his face. Ignoring him, he turned and left. Could it be that he sent people to chase after that lass? Yi Tianyun frowned and quickly followed. These people were watching him too closely. Anyone who came into contact with him would definitely go looking for trouble. The two of them were alone in the room just now. It was obvious that Li Hao guessed that he would give the item to the young girl, so he immediately sent people to follow him. Immediately, he quickly followed, but when he chased after them, he discovered that there was no one outside. Clearly, Li Hao had quickly left, not wanting him to know where he had gone. A cold smile appeared on Yi Tianyun's face. Trying to play tricks with me? You're still too inexperienced. He didn't pay any attention to Li Hao, and directly rushed to find the young girl. The young girl had just received the spirit jade stones, and had left in a hurry without any hesitation. It was obvious that she had run into some urgent matter, and had quickly left after receiving the item. Where is it? Yi Tianyun squinted his eyes and immediately activated the appraisal eye. He didn't use his eyes to search, but rather his spiritual energy. With the help of the appraisal eye, the effect was even more shocking. Soon, he found the girl outside the city gate. She was already on the giant eagle, ready to fly away. Her speed was really fast. It didn't take long for the young lady to leave the city gate. How fast did she have to hurry? However, the lackeys that Li Hao sent out weren't slow either. They quickly caught up and stood in front of the girl. "Hey, miss, where do you want to go?" Just as the young woman was about to leave, one of Li Hao's subordinates, Xu Feng, stood in her way. He reached out and grabbed the eagle, making it impossible for it to move. It didn't even dare to breathe. The young girl's expression changed, and then she said in a low voice, "What do you want to do? I don't even know you. You don't know us, but you know that kid. That's enough." Xu Feng sneered, "I advise you to obediently hand over the things he gave you. Even if he didn't give you anything, hand over everything. Otherwise, hey, don't blame us for being impolite." They were already outside the city, and were not under the protection of the Star Pavilion, so no matter what they did, the Star Pavilion wouldn't care. "I don't know what you're talking about. He didn't give me anything." The young girl's face was a little pale. Obviously, she was a little panicked. "Didn't give you anything? Then let us search your body, then we'll know." Xu Feng smiled sinisterly and prepared to walk towards the carriage. His other two companions surrounded him. In terms of cultivation, they were stronger than the young girl. The young girl's face darkened, and two divine talismans suddenly appeared in her hand. She threw them to the side, but before they could get close to Xu Feng, the two divine talismans suddenly exploded in midair with a bang, and two terrifying waves of air swept out in all direction. The power of this explosion was at least equal to the level of peak core condensation. The three people who intercepted her were immediately blown away and suffered serious injuries. They didn't expect that the young girl was quite ruthless. "Let's go." The young girl immediately commanded the giant eagle to leave. After the giant eagle screeched, it immediately spread its wings and quickly flew away from here. However, before it could fly far, a huge palm slapped down heavily on the giant eagle. With a "pa" sound, the giant eagle was directly smashed into a cloud of blood mist. It didn't even have the chance to scream before it was completely dead. "Little eagle," the young girl screamed. But because the giant eagle was dead, she couldn't continue to fly. She could only quickly jump down from the carriage and landed steadily on the ground. "This is the detonation divine talisman." Li Hao flew down and looked at her coldly. "You're from the spirit clan." The young girl bit her lips and didn't speak. Feeling Li Hao's terrifying aura, she felt that she couldn't leave. It's useless not to speak. The detonation divine talisman is a relatively special divine talisman. It generally doesn't exist in the outside world. Furthermore, it's shockingly powerful. Besides the spirit tribe, it's really difficult for anyone to inscribe such a powerful divine talisman. Li Hao looked her up and down, before laughing heartily. "I didn't expect to see a member of the spirit tribe here. Come back with me, there are many of your companions waiting for you at my place." After saying that, Li Hao reached out and grabbed her. The power of the core transformation stage pressed down on the young girl, bringing a strong sense of pressure. The next moment, the young girl took out a divine talisman and stuck it on her body. She turned into a gust of wind and rushed into the outer city. She wanted to hide in the city so that the Star Pavilion could protect her. "Don't be silly. It's useless to hide in the city. Everyone knows that we are against the Spirit Clan." Do you think the Star Pavilion will dare to protect you? Li Hao let out a loud laugh, and his figure flew up. His speed was much faster than the young girl, and in the blink of an eye, he was in front of her. He stretched out his hand to grab her, and a special force instantly enveloped her, suppressing the young girl, making her unable to move. In a situation where there was a huge gap between their cultivation levels, just the powerful force released by Li Hao was like a weight of 10,000 kilograms. You people from the Netherworld Empire will die a horrible death. The young girl took out a divine talisman and stuck it on her head. It was obvious that she wanted to commit suicide. You want to commit suicide? Impossible. Li Hao snorted and quickly reached out to grab the divine talisman. However, before he could rush over, a large force came from his back. With a peng sound, he was ruthlessly kicked away. He tumbled forward dozens of times, and a large part of his back caved in. It was unknown how many bones were shattered. You're in my way. At this time, a young man walked out of the gate with a smile on his face. Little girl, don't be so impulsive. Don't die for these bastards. It's not worth it. Chapter 282. The one who kicked Li Hao was none other than Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun quickly caught up with Li Hao and sent him flying with a single kick. The strength of this kick was not light. At least Li Hao's waist was broken. Of course it's me, who else could it be? Yi Tianyun smiled. Luckily he came out in time, otherwise this girl would have been caught by Li Hao. But he is from the Netherworld Empire. The girl was dumbfounded. She had never seen anyone who attacked the Netherworld Empire, except for this young man in front of her. The spirit race also attacked the Netherworld Empire, but that was just a form of resistance. How could they dare to provoke the Netherworld Empire? The young man in front of her was so domineering. With just one kick, he sent a powerful core transformation stage cultivator flying. Son of a bitch, you dare to kick me. Li Hao slapped the ground and bounced up. Due to the fact that he had broken quite a few of his bones, he had instantly injured his body, causing him to suck in a breath of cold air. He took out a medicinal pill and stuffed it into his mouth, rapidly healing his internal injuries. So what if I kicked you? Don't you know that the door is small? Yi Tianyun could be said to be lying with his eyes wide open. The door in front of him could be said to be amazingly big. 10 people could walk side by side without a problem. In the end, he just wanted to kick Li Hao away. Boy, it seems like you want to be the hero and save the beauty with brute force. You have to look at your own ability. What kind of skill is that? Li Hao was furious. In a flash, a few divine inscriptions appeared in his hand. He was a divine inscription grandmaster. It was not surprising that he knew a few divine inscriptions. He stuck the divine inscriptions on his body. Instantly his whole body shone with a golden light. His strength suddenly increased. Whether it was speed or strength, there was a big improvement. Boom! Li Hao jumped on the ground and flew towards them. The injuries on his body seemed to have disappeared. Under the double suppression of the divine inscriptions and the divine inscriptions, the injuries on his body were nothing. Run! The girl's face changed. She hurriedly dragged Yi Tianyun to the side to escape. She didn't think that Yi Tianyun would be able to deal with Li Hao. Li Hao also thought that he was defeated by a sneak attack, not a direct confrontation. Do you think you can escape? Li Hao snorted coldly and flew towards them. His speed instantly caught up to them and blocked their path. He stretched out his hand and slapped towards Yi Tianyun. He did not hold back the power of a core transformation stage cultivator. Layers upon layers of chi waves crazily pressed down on them. If it was a cultivator with a lower cultivation, he would definitely be smashed to death by this palm. This palm was aimed at Yi Tianyun. He wanted to kill Yi Tianyun directly. As for the girl, he wanted to keep her alive. After all, she was from the spirit clan. The countenance of the young girl turned deathly pale. This time around, they were finished. However, she still swiftly retrieved a divine inscription talisman, preparing to throw it towards Li Hao. Although it didn't have much meaning, it could at least serve as an interception. However, a single hand slightly pressed down on her hand that was holding onto the divine inscription talisman. Following that, Yi Tianyun took a slight step forward. It was only a single step, but his speed was as fast as lightning as he rapidly moved forward. Following that, he fiercely swung his fist to meet Li Hao's palm. Brat, you're courting death. Li Hao's eyes revealed a look of ridicule. He felt that Yi Tianyun's actions were simply the actions of an idiot. Trying to meet his palm was the same as courting death. Boom! A violent force exploded forth, sending Li Hao flying. After rolling a few rounds, he heavily slammed into the city walls, only then did he stop. The arm that had met Yi Tianyun's palm was shattered by this violent force. My arm, my arm. Li Hao lay on the ground, tightly clutching his shattered arm. His face had turned deathly pale, and his entire arm was limp. Blood flowed unceasingly from his arm, making him look extremely horrifying. I'm just relying on my brute strength to deal with you. So what? Yi Tianyun walked towards Li Hao step by step, his gaze icy cold as he stared at him. The young girl at the side covered her small mouth in shock. Even she was shocked by the scene before her. With a single punch, he had sent Li Hao flying. If it was because of a sneak attack that he had succeeded, then now it was a fair and square confrontation, and he had even successfully defeated Li Hao. This meant that this young man's cultivation level was definitely higher than Li Hao's, and he could not simply crush his opponent with brute strength alone. If one had enough brute strength, then their cultivation level would not be weak. You go to hell for me. Li Hao roared, and with his palm that could still move, he fiercely slammed the ground, sending himself flying. Following that, 5 divine inscription talismans appeared in his hand, and he quickly threw them over. Be careful, those are pyroblast talismans, their power is astonishing. The young girl hurriedly warned Yi Tianyun. Just as she finished speaking, the pyroblast talismans had already exploded. Like 5 roaring fire dragons, they instantly enveloped Yi Tianyun. The power of these pyroblast talismans was astonishing, and it was also a grade 5 divine inscription. It was comparable to an all-out attack from a core transformation stage cultivator, especially when 5 of them were superimposed. The power was even more astonishing. Ha ha ha, brute strength is not bad, but in the end, you still died in my hands. Li Hao laughed, his face was hideous, looking at the terrifying flames covering a large area, and wherever it went, not even a blade of grass could survive. Really, who died in your hands? A ghostly voice sounded in Li Hao's ear. Li Hao hurriedly turned his head to look, but what greeted him was a big fist. Bang! Li Hao was hit by the fist and flew out. It just happened to hit the head. Suddenly his head was blown off, and he directly died. He can't be more dead. Ding! Successfully killed Li Hao, gained 350,000 EXP, 4,300 crazy point. Divine inscription proficiency increased by 500 point. Martial art shadow step, heavenly wind palm. Broken cloud brush, middle grade soul tool, grade 5 divine inscription, random, tyrant rune paper, rare. He easily crushed Li Hao. He didn't even use crazy damage mode, just relying on his terrifying brute strength, it was enough to crush Li Hao. After killing him, Qin Wentian swiftly plundered his interspatial ring. The interspatial ring of a divine inscriptionist would definitely contain many treasures. You only have 500 proficiency points and you still dare to call yourself a grandmaster? You are just a 5th grade divine inscriptionist. Yi Tianyun's voice was filled with disdain. So it turned out that Yi Tianyun was just a piece of trash. You actually killed asterisk 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 asterisk. The few subordinates who had been blasted away by the young woman earlier all revealed expressions of rage when they saw that Yi Tianyun had killed Li Hao. You're dead, you're all dead, oh boom. Yi Tianyun rushed over and sent them flying with a kick. They died instantly. He did not hold back at all. Chapter 283. Yi Tianyun's tyrannical strength had easily killed the Netherworld Empire's people. The onlookers were stunned. Li Ya from the Star Pavilion also saw it. She didn't expect Yi Tianyun to be so domineering. But what was more terrifying was that he had provoked the entire Netherworld Empire. In front of everyone, he had killed the chief divine rune grandmaster of the Netherworld Empire. This meant that he would suffer the wrath of the Netherworld Empire. Killing a chief divine rune master was not enough to incur the wrath of the Netherworld Empire. Even killing an inspector or a soldier of the Netherworld Empire would incur the wrath of the Netherworld Empire. It meant that he was disrespecting the authority of the Netherworld Empire. Yi Tianyun's tyranny made Li Ya feel complicated. No wonder he wasn't afraid of Li Hao. It turned out that he was stronger than Li Hao. I don't know which force he belongs to. He even dared to kill the chief divine rune grandmaster of the Netherworld Empire. Li Yue shook her head. She didn't dare to continue to investigate this matter. Even if she was Li Tianlong's daughter, she didn't dare to investigate this matter. After all, the anger of the Netherworld Empire was not something that the Star Pavilion could bear. Yi Tianyun sensed Li Yue's gaze. He turned his head and looked at her. He smiled but didn't say anything. He turned around and brought the dumbfounded young lady with him. With a gentle step, they soared into the sky and flew into the distance. Soon, they disappeared from everyone's sight. This proved that the young man's cultivation had indeed reached the core transformation stage. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to fly. Possessing such a cultivation at such a young age caused them to speculate one after another. Just what kind of background did he have? Which power did he belong to? Spirit race or Heavenly Dragon Empire? Or even other hidden forces? This world was bigger than they could imagine. It was not limited to the Heavenly Dragon Empire and the Netherworld Empire. There were many other empires that were not weak. It was just that in this area, these two empires were the most powerful and often fought with each other. In the sky. Weren't you hit by the flame explosion talisman? How come you are fine? The young girl still hadn't recovered from the shock. Everything happened too fast, and she couldn't see it clearly. Do you really want something to happen to me? Yi Tianyun smiled faintly. No, it's not like that. It's just a bit sudden. He suddenly appeared beside the people of the Netherworld Empire and quickly killed them. The girl shook her head and didn't know what to say. When your cultivation is a bit stronger, you will naturally understand. Yi Tianyun did not bother to explain too much. This was teleportation, after all, so of course it was sudden enough. In the blink of an eye, he had flashed to Li Hao's side, and no one had been able to detect him. All right. The girl thought for a moment, and her face immediately turned red. Can you put me down? Their current position was a little ambiguous. Yi Tianyun was hugging her tightly as they flew. How could she not be shy? This was the principle that men and women should not touch. Sure. Yi Tianyun knew what she was thinking. Her original intention was to avoid everyone's sight and leave. Now that she had flown far away, there was no problem. Soon after, they descended and put her down. After leaving, the girl nodded and said, "Thank you, young master, for your help. If it wasn't for you, I would have been taken away. But that person is from the Netherworld Empire. You killed him, you will soon be hunted down." Speaking up to here, her eyes flashed with anger. She was very dissatisfied with the people from the Netherworld Empire. At the same time, there was also a hint of guilt in her eyes. She felt that she had implicated Yi Tianyun. It doesn't matter. No matter how many people from the Netherworld Empire come, I will kill them all. Yi Tianyun smiled and said, I don't like them. Since they provoked me, I will naturally not let them go. The Netherworld Empire is gradually approaching the Heaven's Top Mansion. Once they occupy the Heavenly Border Continent, they will soon extend to the Earthly Border Continent. The reason why they fought with the Heavenly Dragon Empire was because they wanted to occupy the entire region. Originally, the next step was to occupy the entire Heavenly Border Continent. Unfortunately, this plan was broken by Yi Tianyun. You also hate the Netherworld Empire? The girl's beautiful eyes widened and said with a smile, That's great. We have the same idea. The Netherworld Empire is too hateful. They are very overbearing. Whenever they see something good, they want to take it for themselves. For example, the spirit race. Yi Tianyun smiled and said, Don't be too nervous. The person from the Netherworld Empire has already said so. This time, you can't act shamelessly, right? I'm sorry. We can't expose our identity. Otherwise, the Netherworld Empire will hunt us down. But since you saved me, I'm sure you are not a bad person. I am indeed from the spirit race. This time, I came out to buy spirit jade stones. There was no doubt about this. Even if he used the trick of injuring himself to gain trust, he still killed the chief divine rune master of the Netherworld Empire. I told you that you are from the spirit race. You are so young and yet you have the standard of a 5th grade divine rune. Apart from the spirit race, there are very few other forces that have this kind of ability. Yi Tianyun said with a smile. This was true. Apart from the spirit race, it was very rare to have the standard of a 5th grade divine rune at such a young age. Oh no, I have to go back quickly. If I go back late, it will be too late. At this time, the girl thought of something and said hurriedly, Do you want me to send you back? Yi Tianyun asked. Can I? Then I'll have to trouble you. The girl did not refuse. Perhaps it was because she was too anxious and didn't have any precaution, so she asked Yi Tianyun to send her back. Yi Tianyun did not hesitate. He hugged the girl and quickly flew up. Where do you want to go? This way, the girl said as she pointed to a direction. Yi Tianyun quickly flew towards that direction and disappeared into the horizon in the blink of an eye. Under the guidance of the girl, they came to a dense forest. This dense forest was where the spirit race lived. Yi Tianyun casually looked around and felt that there was something strange about this forest. After releasing his heavenly eye, he immediately saw many hidden divine runes engraved on the trees. If not for the heavenly eye, he would not have been able to see these divine runes clearly. As expected, this is the place where the spirit race lives. There are divine runes everywhere. If you randomly barge in, you won't even know how you died. Yi Tianyun nodded. From the looks of it, there was no problem for the time being. The girl must have bought so many spirit jade stones to replenish the energy of the divine runes. Otherwise, she would not have been in such a hurry. We've arrived. Just stop here. The girl hurriedly signaled Yi Tianyun to put her down. Yi Tianyun nodded and landed at the foot of the mountain. Thank you for escorting me back. If it wasn't for you, I don't know when I would have returned. The girl said gratefully, This is enough. I'm ready to go back. Right, what's the name of your friend in the spirit race? I can help you ask about her. There's no need. I guess she's not in the spirit race anymore. Yi Tianyun smiled and did not say Yi Qingxuan's name. Really? Then wait here for a while. I'll go back and talk to the elders and see if they can invite you in. The girl smiled brightly. Right, I still don't know your name. My name is Yi Wn. Obviously, she completely regarded him as a friend. She gave him the spirit jade stones and saved him. If he gave her the spirit jade stones, it would arouse her suspicion. But after saving him, she let down her guard. Chapter 284. Yi Yuntian, Yi Yuntian. Yi Wn nodded her head and said, Wait for me here, I'll talk to the elders and see if they can take you in as a guest. Now the situation in the spirit clan is quite special, we can't take people in like before. No problem, go ahead. Yi Tianyun smiled and motioned her to hurry up. Yi Wn nodded her head, turned around and ran into the forest, disappearing at the end of the forest. Yi Tianyun looked at her disappearing back and found a place to sit down, waiting for her to return. Now the situation in the spirit clan was very special. As long as it was not a member of the clan, no one could enter. No one knew if they were enemies or not, so he had to be careful. Even the members of the clan had to go through a thorough interrogation, especially those who didn't come back often. It was very likely that they were traitors. I wonder if Yi Qingxian is in the clan now? Yi Tianyun didn't ask about Yi Qingxuan's situation. These things were sensitive, so he didn't want to know more. He looked up at the blue sky. It had been a long time, at least a year. Unknowingly, almost a year had passed just like that. It had to be said that this was really fast. Many things had happened in this year, many sects had been destroyed, and many sects had risen. While he was immersed in his thoughts, Yi Wn's voice came from behind, Brother Yi, I'm back. In addition to Yi Wana, there was also a spirit race elder who was at 5th level core transformation stage. Yi Tianyun didn't expect to see such a high-level spirit race elder. Yi Tianyun believed that the spirit race elder must have heard about what Yi Wana did, so they must have sent an elder to negotiate with him. Yi Tianyun stood up and walked towards the elder. Brother Yi, this is our third elder. Yi Wan introduced to Yi Tianyun. Greetings, third elder. Yi Tianyun nodded. You are the young man who saved Wan. To have such a cultivation at such a young age, and even kill Netherworld Empire's Li Hao, this strength is not bad. The third elder looked at Jiang Yi from head to toe and observed him carefully. He continued to ask, "May I know which faction you are from?" "I am just a loose cultivator." "Thus, I am not from any sect," Yi Tianyun said with a faint smile. Loose cultivator?" Jiang Yi narrowed his eyes and looked at him. It was a miracle that an itinerant cultivator could cultivate to this level. "I heard from WNR that you have a grudge with the Netherworld Empire?" "Yes, an irreconcilable hatred." Yi Tianyun's eyes shone with a bright light. "That's why I helped Miss WNR. When I saw how overbearing the Netherworld Empire was, I couldn't help but help her. The Netherworld Empire is indeed overbearing. No matter what, thank you for saving Wana. I believe that you have more or less heard about our spirit race. The Netherworld Empire wanted to recruit us by force, so it is easy to have some conflicts. More importantly, we have to carefully interrogate every cultivator who comes in. Please don't take it to heart." Jiang Yi smiled. "This is very normal. We have more or less heard about it. We should investigate it strictly. I am afraid that there are spies among us." Yi Tianyun smiled. "We have always been hospitable. Now we refuse to go out. We must be cautious. But since Brother Yi has an irreconcilable hatred with the Netherworld Empire, even if you are our friend." Jiang Yi gestured, "Please come in." Yi Tianyun smiled and nodded. The other party trusted him so much, but he killed Li Hao, which belongs to the rank of a minister. Who would do such a thing if there was no hatred between them? "But before you go in, please put this black ribbon on your eyes. This is the rule for outsiders. Please understand." Jiang Yi took out a black ribbon and asked Yi Tianyun to put it on. "No problem." Yi Tianyun knew what this meant. They were afraid that if they followed them all the way in, they would memorize the array and the maze would be ineffective. Immediately, with the help of Yi Wana, he wrapped the black ribbon around his eyes. When the black ribbon wrapped around his eyes, he found that his spiritual senses and eyes were sealed. He could not see anything, and all he could see was darkness. If it was a simple black cloth, it would be useless. He could still use his spiritual senses to explore the surroundings. Obviously, this black cloth was engraved with divine patterns, which could block spiritual senses. Then, under their guidance, Yi Tianyun walked in step by step. After walking for about 30 minutes, the black cloth wrapped around his eyes was untied. A glimmer of light came into his eyes, which made him squint slightly. The first thing that came into view was a very primitive village. It was built with wood from the forest, and many vines were wrapped around it. It looked quite primitive. Fortunately, there was enough spiritual energy in this place. The spiritual energy was quite rich, and the effect of cultivation here was not low. In addition, there were a lot of spirit clan members in this place. At a glance, there were dozens of them, scattered about, busy with something. Looking up, there was a blue sky above, but if one flew in the sky, he would not be able to see the situation here. This was a divine rune that was engraved by a divine rune grandmaster. If it was so easy to find it, it would have been captured long ago instead of being besieged by the Netherworld Empire. "Hey, there is an outsider in." "Yes, I heard that Wana brought him in. Didn't she go to buy jade spirit stones? Why did she bring an outsider in? What if there is a traitor?" They looked at him curiously, and some were even full of hostility. As long as it was an outsider, they would be a bit cautious. Because they had all fallen into a trap, they were so cautious. It could be said that once bitten, twice shy. This was the case here. He is not a traitor, and he is not a bad person. Don't worry, he is the same as us. He has a great hatred for the Netherworld Empire. Recently, he saved Wana and killed the great traitor of our spirit clan, Li Hao. Yi Wana loudly defended Yi Tianyun. "What? Killed the great traitor Li Hao? Did he really kill that bastard? That bastard should have died a long time ago. After learning so many divine patterns, I didn't expect that he was a dog of the Netherworld Empire. Great, he can help us kill that Li Hao. It makes me feel a bit better. He is definitely not a traitor." Hearing these words, the guards in their hearts immediately relaxed a lot, but they were still somewhat on guard. Because it was not a member of their clan, they relaxed a little, but not completely, at least their attitude was much better. Chapter 285. When Yi Wn explained to Yi Tianyun, Jiang Yi nodded slightly but didn't say anything. Originally, he wanted to come forward and explain to them. If they didn't give a reasonable explanation, they wouldn't be able to accept an outsider. Now that everyone was in a panic, without a clear identity, the possibility of them accepting an outsider was very low. Yi Tianyun's identity was very clear: he was the enemy of the Netherworld Empire, and he also killed Li Hao. To them, he was a friend. Helping them to kill the traitor and resist the Netherworld Empire together, they immediately became a united front, so their attitude immediately changed. "Brother Yi, I still have some matters to attend to. You can just stay here." Jiang Yi turned to Yi Wn and said, "Wn, bring Brother Yi for a walk around here." As he spoke, he gave her a look, but no one knew what he was hinting at. Yi Tianyun saw this scene. It must be a hint to Yi Wana to take good care of him. The most important thing is to keep an eye on him, not to wander around at will. This is the key. An outsider definitely couldn't wander around here as he pleased. Apart from this small area, there were quite a few houses in front of him. Among them, there was a tall tower in the distance. Bursts of light came from the tower and enveloped the area. This tower should be something like the core of the array, releasing energy to cover the whole area, so no one can find out about it. Void Spirit Stage, which is stronger than Core Transformation Stage cultivators, can't detect the situation here. Even Spirit King Stage cultivators can't detect the situation here. Void Spirit Stage is divided into two stages. One is Void Spirit Stage, and the other is Late Stage, but the Late Stage is generally called Spirit King Stage. After breaking through to Void Spirit Stage, you can call yourself Spirit King, but in order to become a Spirit King, you must first reach Spirit King Stage. Because the two stages are the same, they are divided into two stages, but the difference in strength is like heaven and earth. Spirit King Shen Tian is a real Spirit King Stage cultivator. His strength is unquestionable. In the outside world, these two stages are generally described as turning void into spirit, that is, becoming a king. Only after reaching the Spirit King Stage could he advance to the Saint King Stage. What is that pagoda again? Yi Tianyun asked. That pagoda is our spirit pagoda. The saintess and the elders live there, protecting the entire spirit race. Yi Wan's beautiful eyes flashed. She looked over there and said, "This time, I brought back the jade spirit stones to replenish the spirit tower's energy. Normally, we don't need too many jade spirit stones. Now that the situation is urgent, in order to be more secretive, the formation will be activated at full power. However, I only brought back a small portion. The spirit pagoda needs a lot of spirit jade stones now." Yi Tianyun nodded. This was within his expectations. Otherwise, many large arrays would have spirit gathering arrays. The energy consumption was basically the same as the energy provided by the spirit gathering array, so there was no need for spirit jade stones. Saintess, her. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. It seemed like it was impossible for him to go over. "Big brother Yi, look." At this time, Yi Wn motioned him to look over. When he turned his head to look, an extremely exquisite face appeared in front of him. There were a few divine inscriptions on this beautiful face. They looked very faint, but they didn't destroy the beauty of this face. Instead, there was a different kind of beauty to it. The key was that this appearance made him dumbfounded. It was somewhat similar to Yi Qingxian. He knew that the ordinary face before was definitely not Yi Wan's real face. This was the real face. The appearance of the spirit race was not bad. Before he came in, he saw many handsome men and beautiful women, and they all had special divine runes on their faces. Therefore, if they didn't change their appearance, they would immediately be recognized as a spirit race. The faint divine runes on their face was their most obvious characteristic. However, Yi Wn's appearance was somewhat similar to Yi Qingshuan's, and even their surname was the same. There was no doubt that the two of them were sisters. Her real face looked like she was only 16 or 17 years old, a few years younger than Yi Tianyun. But to be able to have such a high cultivation level, her talent could be said to be extraordinary. The reason why the spirit race was so powerful was because of their amazing talent. But correspondingly, It was quite difficult to reproduce. It was already good to have one child, and it was extremely difficult to have two, but it was not impossible. Hehe, dumbfounded, this is my real face. Ywn squinted her eyes and smiled. Are you scared? I am scared. Your real face is really beautiful. Yi Tianyun smiled. Sisters, you are much more beautiful than me. Although Ywn said so, she was still very happy to be praised. She smiled and said, let's go, I will take you around. Although we can't go to the spirit tower, walking around here is not a problem. Ywan led him forward. As soon as they arrived, many spirit race people surrounded him and looked him up and down. Wan, don't you want to introduce him? I heard that he saved you and killed the great traitor Li Hao. Yes, don't you want to introduce this friend to us? The age of the people surrounding him was about the same, about 20 years old, but there were also younger. You can call him Big Brother Yi. He is very powerful. He killed that Li Hao with 2 or 3 punches. If it were not for Big Brother Yi, I would not have come back. Ywn waved her little fist, as if she wanted to show the situation at that time. He killed that Li Hao with 2 or 3 punches. Is he that powerful? They all exclaimed, but there was still a look of doubt in their eyes. They did not see it with their own eyes, so they did not know the real situation. By the way, Wn, how do you feel about the outside this time? They immediately changed the topic, apparently not too concerned about this topic. Outside, they began to chat, and Yi Tianyun was left to the side. After all, everything was said by Ywn, and the truth would be verified. That's enough, I have to entertain Big Brother Yi. Ywn waved her hand and said, next time when you are as mature as me, you can go out. Wn, you are bragging again. Didn't you go out with the elders once or twice before? What mature? They all rolled their eyes and dispersed. Ywn snorted and led Yi Tianyun to the house in front. I live over there. Big Brother Yi, I will take you there. Ywan led him to her house. After entering, the room inside was spacious, but it seemed to be a double room. Yi Tianyun glanced at it and found that the room had obviously not been lived in for a long time, but it was still clean. This is your room? Yi Tianyun asked. No, that is my sister's room. But she has not come back for a long time. Speaking of this, Ywn's eyes were a little disappointed. It's okay, she should be back soon. Yi Tianyun comforted. No, she is very busy now. Ever since she came back, she has been busy and rarely comes back. Ywn said excitedly, that's right, my sister is a holy maiden, and she is very powerful. Now that the spirit clan can live in peace, it is mostly because of my sister's effort. She began to boast again, and her pretty face was flushed. Chapter 286. Yi Qingxian and Yi Qingxian look alike, they must be relatives. As for how they are related, it depends on the situation. But now it has been confirmed that Yi Qingxian is her sister. It seems that Yi Qingxian has returned and successfully pacified the spirit race. She didn't make them surrender. Now the situation is not so good, just a little bit stabilized. The war is still going to break out. Jade Spirit Stones is the best proof. The reason why they keep buying Jade Spirit Stones is to activate the spirit formation to protect the spirit race. But if it continues like this, it will definitely be a bottomless pit. In the end, even the Jade Spirit Stones are gone, the power of the spirit formation will be greatly reduced, and that will be the time for them to fall. Right now, they were only seeking temporary stability. If they wanted permanent security, there was only one way, and that was to eradicate the Netherworld Empire. As long as the Netherworld Empire exists, the spirit race will definitely be in danger, unless they surrender. Yi Tianyun nodded. It seems that there is no big problem for the time being, but he doesn't know what will happen in the future. Ding, Heavenly Jade Sect successfully annihilated a bandit lair, successfully gained 5 million EXP, 100. 000 Crazy Point, 1000 SPS, 100 Prestige Point, 1 Enhanced Lottery Roulette Ticket. At this time, the system sounded. He was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect this kind of news to come out. Obviously, it's either an elder level, or Shueyun, with Heavenly Jade Sect's disciples, eradicating the bandit's nest. The key is that he also got a lot of EXP. Maybe he didn't get any items, but at least he didn't have to do it himself. No wonder my Snow Wolf King has been giving me EXP. It turns out that it is clearing the bandit's nest. Yi Tianyun shook his head. Since the beginning, he has been receiving EXP. It is obvious that the Snow Wolf King is hunting the bandit, but he didn't pay much attention to it. Now that he found out that he went to eradicate the bandit lair, he is very satisfied with the EXP he got, and he also got a lot of prestige point. Because Heavenly Jade Sect is his sect, so the action of the sect can obviously give him corresponding EXP. If everyone in Heavenly Jade Sect can give him EXP, it will be great. Brother Yi, what's wrong? Yi Wn saw Yi Tianyun smiling foolishly, not knowing what he was thinking. It's okay, it's okay. Yi Tianyun coughed a few times, looked at her and said, "Where are you taking me next?" "Big brother Yi saved me. I will definitely repay you." Yi Wana laughed. "There are some places that you can't go, but there is a place that I can take you to. It will definitely be of great help to Big Brother Yi." "Where is it?" Yi Tianyun's interest was piqued. He knew that Yi Wn wouldn't have invited him in just for a cup of tea. There are a few places in the spirit race that are quite famous. One of them is the Lake of Jade. If you cultivate there, your cultivation speed will be 20% faster than usual. This is effective even for core transformation stage cultivators. Yi Wan said with a smile. So magical. Yi Tianyun was a little surprised. In the outside world, people would fight for a place that can increase their cultivation speed by 20% to 30%, but here it is just a lake? Yes, all of us spirit race can go there to cultivate. It is originally used to entertain our spirit race friends. Yi Wn said with a smile. "Big brother Yi, let's go, I will take you there." "Okay." Yi Tianyun didn't have much interest in this place, but since she invited him, he will go and have a look. Under Yi Wn's lead, they re-entered the forest. This time, they were not tied with black cloth, they can go in and out freely. After passing through the forest, a pool came into view. It wasn't big, but it wasn't small either. It was about 7 or 8 feet wide, and there were many people from the spirit tribe cultivating here. Except for Yi Tianyun, there is no other outsider here. Therefore, as soon as he came in, he immediately attracted everyone's attention. How can an outsider come in? They all looked at him with disgust in their eyes. "I was the one who brought him here. He saved me before and killed the great traitor Li Hao. Otherwise, I would have been captured." Yi Wan had to explain again. Otherwise, they wouldn't know. Killed the traitor Li Hao? They looked at each other with shock in their eyes, but many of them were still very disdainful and even disgusted. This was not the first time that Yi Tianyun saw this kind of look. Even if they heard that he killed Li Hao or became the enemy of the Netherworld Empire, it didn't make any difference. They were still filled with wariness or disgust. Only a few chose to accept him. "So what if he was killed? Why did you bring him here?" One of the spirit race youth stood up and looked coldly at Yi Tianyun. "Wn, you know the current situation of the spirit race. In the past, we were very good to some of the forces and even taught them divine runes. But now, when they heard that the Netherworld Empire is coming, they all ran away. Each and every one of them is ungrateful. Some of them even turned against us, and I think he is no exception. Yes, get out of our jade pond. This is our holy land, Wn. If you want to entertain him, just do it in the house outside, don't bring him here. Seeing these strange people annoys me, they are all ungrateful." They were all very disgusted, and they didn't even try to hide their disgust. Brother Yi is not like them, he won't be ungrateful. And now I want to repay the kindness. If I drive Big Brother Yi away, then I will be regarded as an ungrateful person. Yi Wana did not retreat, nor was she timid, instead, she retorted confidently. This time, they all became silent, and after looking at each other, they didn't say anything. No matter what, at least they saved Yi Wn, and that was enough. If they really drove Yi Tianyun away, as Yi Wn said, she would be an ungrateful person. "Brother Yi, let's choose a place to cultivate, the effect is not bad for you." Yi Wn took him to find a place to sit down, close to the edge of the jade pond, so that he could absorb the continuous flow of spiritual energy from the pond. Yi Tianyun also meditated and looked up at the green pond. The detailed situation immediately appeared in front of him. Jade Pond, a pond filled with dense spirit energy. At the bottom of the pond is the rare soul accumulation grass. After being mixed with the spirit energy and absorbed, one's cultivation speed will increase by 20% to 30%. So there is soul accumulating grass. No wonder. The soul accumulating grass was very rare. It was a spirit herb at the peak of the 5th level, and it was about to enter the 6th level. There weren't many soul accumulating grass in the Lake of Jade. There were only a few stalks of soul accumulating grass, but their effects could be enjoyed by tens or even hundreds of people at once. One could imagine how amazing the effects were. Of course, for core transformation cultivators, the effect was only 10%, or even 5%. Yi Wen didn't know the situation, so she thought it was still 20 to 30%. Chapter 287. Yi Tianyun felt a gaze behind him and knew that the spirit core stage cultivator was watching him. He was worried that Yi Tianyun would rush down and snatch the soul accumulating grass. This was a 5th grade spirit herb, which was priceless outside. Yi Tianyun didn't pay attention to him. Instead, he looked around. The cultivation environment here was really good. No wonder the disciples of the spirit clan had high cultivation. There were spirit gathering formations everywhere, so they could cultivate even if they slept in their houses. Just this cultivation environment alone was enough to kill a lot of people outside, and this was not even considering their talent. The problem was that the number of people here was too small compared to the outside. Unless everyone was a heaven-defying cultivator, they would not be able to resist the power of a huge empire. In the later stages of cultivation, it completely depended on one's perception and talent. Even if the cultivation environment was good, it was very difficult to improve. Of course, this had nothing to do with Yi Tianyun. As long as he kept going, there would be no problem. Yi Wana had already started to cultivate. She slowly absorbed the rich spiritual power around her and began to cultivate. Forget it, I'll just try to absorb it. Yi Tianyun also began to try to absorb the spiritual power around him, but no matter how much he absorbed, it all turned into experience points. Gained 5,000 experience points, 8,300 experience points, 7,500 experience points, 8,100 experience points. After he absorbed a little, he found that his experience points suddenly exploded. He just absorbed a little bit, but the experience points had such a terrifying effect. If he absorbed it with all his strength, he would definitely get an amazing amount of experience points. If he activated crazy mode, it would undoubtedly be a very impressive amount. What the hell is going on? How can this place be so magical? The spiritual power here is a lot less than the heavenly spirit Jade Pond, but the experience points are not any less. Yi Tianyun was very shocked. He opened his eyes again and stared at the soul accumulating grass under the pond. He wondered if it was the effect of the soul accumulating grass. Under the stimulation of the soul accumulating grass, his experience points increased dramatically. With the appraisal eye, the data was still the same as before. There was no other explanation. There were a lot of things that needed to be discovered by himself, not in front of him. Try to absorb it with all your might. Let's see how it works. Yi Tianyun immediately activated his Dark North Divine Art and began to absorb the surrounding spiritual energy with the greatest suction force. In an instant, he was like a whirlpool, madly sucking in the surrounding spiritual energy. The moment he absorbed it, his experience immediately exploded. 31,000 EXP, 35,000 EXP, 34,000 EXP. Under the situation of activating the ultimate enhancement for experience, it directly exploded to more than 30,000 points. This was not even in crazy mode, and the effect could already reach such an amazing level. This shocked him. This was equivalent to the experience gained from killing a spirit core stage powerhouse. However, this experience came and went quickly. Very quickly, it sank and did not continue to erupt. 3,100, 3,300, 3,500, the data had shrunk by 10 times. There was still a lot of spiritual energy, but the effect of the soul accumulating grass had been sucked dry. There was no doubt that the soul accumulating grass was the main reason for the increase in experience point. The corresponding situation occurred one after another. Under the crazy absorption, the surrounding spiritual power was instantly drawn over by him. Even the surrounding trees were swaying, as if there was a force pulling them over. Yi Wen and the others who were sitting next to him were also awakened. They turned to look at Yi Tianyun and were all shocked by this suction force. They had all seen a strong suction force, but they had never seen such a strong suction force. It sucked away all the spiritual energy around them. How could they cultivate? Big brother Yi. Yi Wan's voice trembled. She did not expect Yi Tianyun's absorption to be so strong. What's wrong? Yi Tianyun stopped absorbing and felt dozens of eyes staring at him, revealing a look of horror. Your absorption speed is amazing. Yi Wen said excitedly. It's really amazing, even the elders are not as good as big brother Yi. He knew that they were scared by his suction force. He just wanted to test the strongest effect, but in the end, he still disturbed them. Under his human-shaped whirlpool, the absorption speed was quite amazing. If it was someone else, they would be scared. It should be said that people of the same level would be scared, let alone these spirit race people who were only at the core condensation stage. Will this disturb your cultivation? Yi Tianyun looked at them and asked. Of course it will, the spiritual energy here has been sucked away by you, we can't absorb the soul-accumulating grass's fragrance. Yes, my spiritual energy is also sucked away, but isn't this a bit too powerful? What a terrible suction force. This is the most powerful I have ever seen in my life. If anyone is with him, they will not be able to cultivate anymore. The person you brought back is too strong, isn't he? We can't cultivate like this. After they recovered from the shock, they began to complain, how can they play like this? Yi Wen bit her lips. After thinking for a moment, she got up and sincerely said, Please, big brother Yi is my savior, I have nothing to repay him, I just want him to cultivate here. If you need my help, I will definitely help. This. They looked at each other, they did not have any prejudice against Yi Wen, even their relationship was not bad, but they did not have a good impression of Yi Tianyun, that's all. If they had a companion who could achieve this effect, they would definitely not say a word. Absorbing spiritual energy depends on their own ability, they can absorb as much as they can. But for Yi Tianyun, it was different, they did not have a good impression of him, they did not feel comfortable sitting next to him. Immediately they sighed, just when they wanted to say something, Yi Tianyun reached out and grabbed her head, gently rubbed it and said, Silly girl, there is no need to do this, it is good to see the scenery here, let's go. But. Yi Wen paused. But other than this, she really could not think of any other way to repay him. No buts, let's go. After saying that, he turned around and left. However, he learned a lot of things. For example, the soul-accumulating grass could actually increase his experience by 10 times during the process of cultivation, but the amount was too little, it was gone after a while. At the bottom of the pond of jade, there were only a few soul-accumulating grass, not many, not enough for him to absorb. This thing is probably similar to the experience grass, I wonder what effect it will have if I eat it, will it be the same as an experience card? Chapter 288. When Yi Tianyun was thinking about how to get the accumulating soul grass, Yi Wen next to him was still in a state of guilt. She brought him in as a guest, but she couldn't repay him, how could she not feel guilty? Big brother Yi, I'm sorry, I didn't treat you well. Yi Wen was depressed, she was very concerned about this aspect, she definitely belongs to the type of person who will repay kindness. In fact, not only her, many cultivators belong to the type of person who will repay kindness. If they can't repay kindness, then they can't straighten out their thoughts, it will hinder their own cultivation. If they are used to being ungrateful, then it's another matter, at least Yi Wen doesn't belong to this type. Still thinking about this problem? I'm very happy that you can bring me in, others can't come in. Yi Tianyun smiled, he thought that this little girl is really kind. Although it's a pity that he can't study it properly, at least he knows that accumulating soul grass has a great effect on him, he doesn't know if other spirit herbs will have other effects. Just relying on experience cards, unless he has a lot of crazy point, he really can't afford it. As for the spirit herbs, it is relatively rare, but as long as he is strong enough, then the difficulty of obtaining it will not be too big. Or he can order the sect people to find it. This is undoubtedly a way to save time and effort. Is that so? Yi-Wana shook her head and sighed. If you can go to the spirit tower, even if Big Brother Yi's absorption is very strong, he can still satisfy you. I already said, don't worry about it. Yi Tianyun felt helpless. Hey, sister is back. At this time, a group of people gathered in front of her, attracting her attention. Yi Tianyun looked up. There is indeed a group of people there, very respectfully greeting the people in front of him. He can vaguely hear the words "Welcome, Saint." Obviously, Yi Qingxian is back. This made Yi-Wana surprised. Sure enough, after a moment, the crowd in front of him slightly separated. A familiar face appeared in front of Yi Tianyun, Yi Qingxian. Yi Qingxian is still the same, there is no change, but her face is a little pale. It looks a lot worse than before. Back then, his condition was already bad enough. And now, his complexion looked even worse than before. However, his cultivation base was much stronger than before. His complexion was very bad, probably because he had just experienced something that caused him to expend too much energy. Sister. Yi-Wana waved her hand excitedly and ran over. Soon, she was in front of Yi Qingxian. Sister, how come you have time to come back this time? Yi Qingxian reached out and pinched her face. Anger surged in her beautiful eyes as she scolded. I heard that you were discovered by that traitor Li Hao outside. If it wasn't for someone saving you, you would have been captured. As I said before, you still need to improve your cultivation before you can go out alone. What if you get captured? Ouch, ouch, ouch. Sister, I want to help the clan. At the time, we were so short of jade stones, so I ran out. Am I not fine now? Yi-Wana waved her hand. She wanted to slap Yi Qingxuan's hand away, but she didn't dare. Just saying that you are fine is enough. Yi Qingxian snorted coldly and let go of her hand. She looked at Yi Tianyun and her eyes became soft. You are the benefactor who saved Wana. I am really grateful to you. If it wasn't for you, Wana would have been captured by the Netherworld Empire. When she said that, she looked up and down at Yi Tianyun, but she didn't see anything special about him. Now, Yi Tianyun's body had changed a lot, so it was impossible to judge him from his body shape. It's not a big deal. Yi Qingxuan's familiar voice came into his ears again. It reminded him of the scene when Yi Qingxian gave him the most precious gift, including those memories. Yi Qingxian didn't have much familiarity with him, but she still saved him. Yi Qingxian and Yi Qingxian seemed to be carved from the same mold. They would always repay those who helped them. This is not a small matter, it's a big matter for me. Yi Qingxian said with a serious expression. She knew that her sister was very important to her. I don't know your name. I am the Holy Maiden of the Spirit Race. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask. As long as it's not too much, I can satisfy you. Long time no see. When Yi Tianyun was about to say something, a few Spirit Race people rushed over and interrupted their conversation. Saintess, we've been recognized, and we can't buy any pills. Most of the medicine shops have refused to provide us with pills. The Spirit Tribe member said with a worried expression, we don't have enough pills, and our injured clansmen don't have enough to treat their injuries. It was ironic that the Spirit Race was very talented in divine runes, but they were only average in alchemy. Most of them relied on buying pills, and only a few of them could refine pills themselves. Their talents were fixed here. If they were to discard their talents and focus on alchemy, it would obviously not be worth it. Now, because of the pressure from the Netherworld Empire, they had to be very careful when purchasing things. They don't want to sell pills to us. Well, I can understand their thoughts. Under the pressure from the Netherworld Empire, who would dare to continue selling pills to us? Yi Qingxian sighed and said, let's continue to send people to buy more pills. Do you want to accept the Save the Spirit Race quest? A notification popped up, and Yi Tianyun was stunned. There was no reward shown, and there was no details of the quest. Accept. Without the slightest hesitation, Yi Tianyun accepted the task. Successfully accepted the Save the Spirit Race quest. Ultimate reward, become the king of the Spirit Race. Officially start Quest 1, fill the Spirit Race's pill shortage. Reward, 5,000,000 EXP, 5,000 crazy point, 5,000 alchemy mastery, and 50 spirit race favorability. What? Become the king of the spirit race? Yi Tianyun was stunned. If he didn't understand it wrong, it meant that he would become the leader of the spirit race. How could a human become the king of the spirit race? Was there some kind of mistake? But since the system said so, there shouldn't be any problem. Interesting, if I can conquer the spirit race, my heavenly jade sect, several ideas popped up in Yi Tianyun's mind. One of them was that heavenly jade sect could easily become a grade 3 faction, or even a grade 4 faction. Even the spirit race belongs to him, what else is there to worry about? This is equivalent to having a powerful divine rune gate. Chapter 289. After Yi Tianyun accepted the task, he suddenly raised his head and said, "Alchemy? I can help you refine it." Originally, he wanted to meet Yi Qingxian, but he didn't expect such a situation to occur. He temporarily put this matter aside. Since he met Yi Qingxian, he definitely had to meet her, but now was not the right time. He would wait until the matter was over. "You can refine elixirs." The others raised their heads, their eyes filled with shock. Yi Qingxian and the others looked at Yi Tianyun in surprise. Who would have thought that he could also refine elixirs? "You can refine elixirs." Yi Qingxian thought for a moment and said, "We need to refine a batch of elixirs of high quality. The lowest grade must be 3rd grade, and some even 4th grade. Can you do this?" "As long as there are materials, it won't be a problem," Yi Tianyun said without thinking. He was now an advanced alchemist and had been promoted long ago. At most, he could successfully refine 5th grade elixirs. The success rate of 5th grade elixirs was relatively low, but if he tried a few more times or activated the lucky aura, the success rate would definitely not be small. "Alright, I will ask you to refine a batch of elixirs as soon as possible." "It's very urgent," Yi Qingxian said without thinking. "Lady Saint, is it really good to let an unknown person do alchemy?" An elder next to her couldn't help but stand up and remind her. The elder's words were not without reason. They were worried that someone would sneak in and mix other medicinal effects into the elixirs. If they ate it, they would be finished. "Then do you have any other solution?" Yi Qingxian looked at the elder and asked lightly. No. The elder smiled awkwardly. They really had no other way. So many medicine stores had rejected them. It was already good enough that they were not arrested, not to mention the other elixirs. "No, that's fine." Yi Qingxian didn't waste any time. She turned to look at Yi Tianyun and said, "Then I'll leave it to you. We will prepare the materials." "Saintess," Yi Tianyun said. "Since all the elders are questioning my words, it's very simple. You can watch me concoct pills as you please, and I'll even try one of the pills you concoct. What do you think?" Yi Tianyun knew that they were still a bit worried. Now, everyone was in a state of panic. Not to mention the outsiders, even the inner clansmen had spies. How could they not be worried? If he were a member of the astral race, he would be on his guard as well. The reason why Yi Qingxian could be so decisive was not because she wasn't wary, but because her clansmen were seriously injured and would die if they didn't have elixirs to treat them, and she would control the risk within a certain range, so there wouldn't be any problems. Yi Tianyun's words stunned everyone. Yi Qingxuan's beautiful eyes brightened. His words had definitely dispelled many people's wariness. Watching from the side, coupled with him eating one himself, undoubtedly made them feel more at ease. Was it really okay to just show people how to refine pills? There were many alchemists who would hide and refine, afraid that their refining methods would be seen. Yi Tianyun, on the other hand, not only did he concoct pills in front of everyone, he even wanted to eat one himself. "Alright, since you've said so, then I'll have to trouble you. I'll definitely reward you handsomely." Yi Qingxian gestured, "Please walk into the spiritual tower, the ingredients are all there." Yi Tianyun nodded, then looked at Yi Wn and said, let's go to the spiritual tower together." But I. Yi Wan was stunned. Even they couldn't enter the spiritual tower as they pleased. It was an important place, and unless there was something important, they couldn't go in casually. "Let's go together." Yi Qingxian patted her back, indicating for her to follow. "Okay." Yuan was excited. It would be best if they could go together, especially since she could see her sister's condition. Following Yi Qingxuan's lead, they quickly arrived in front of the spiritual tower. Looking up at the towering spiritual tower, it was even more shocking than looking from afar. The entire spiritual tower was engraved with divine inscriptions, and the divine inscriptions on it were faintly discernible. Even the surroundings of the spiritual tower were shimmering with divine inscriptions. The entire area was engraved with divine inscriptions, and the entire area was a divine inscription formation. The spiritual tower was the eye of the spirit tribe's formation. If the spiritual tower was destroyed, then the spirit tribe wouldn't be able to hide, let alone attack. This pagoda was not casually built here. It formed the most conspicuous array eye, which was equivalent to exposing its own weakness. However, even if it was exposed, it would be difficult to destroy the spiritual tower. Just the ingredients alone were extremely rare. Yi Tianyun took a look and knew that this spiritual tower wasn't of the spiritual king level or above, so it was impossible to destroy it easily. Then they walked into the spiritual tower, and the situation inside was even more amazing. It was as if the surrounding spiritual energy was being sucked in, and the rich spiritual energy was several times stronger than the outside world. However, the real reason was that there were a lot of jade spirit stones on the side, continuously supplying spiritual energy to the spiritual tower, which allowed it to maintain a rich spiritual energy. Soon, they came to an alchemy room, where there were alchemists refining pills. Their cultivation wasn't low, but the level of the pills they refined wasn't high. They were at the spirit core stage, and their alchemy level was only at the second or third level, so they could barely refine some healing pills. This was their own alchemist. When they practiced divine inscriptions, they also practiced alchemy. Only in the later stages would they practice alchemy, so it was unlikely that their alchemy level would be high. However, it was better than nothing. Being able to refine some pills was already good enough. Saintess. When they saw Yi Qingxian, they respectfully greeted her. It seemed that Yi Qingxuan's prestige was really great, and she had established enough prestige here. Well, you've all worked hard. Yi Qingxian nodded to them, and immediately said, "This is the helper I invited. Later, when we refine pills together, you can empty an alchemy furnace for him to refine pills." Invited helper? They looked at Yi Tianyun, and they all frowned. They really didn't have a good impression of an outsider. What level of pills can he refine? Is the level good? Yes, if the level is too low, or the speed is too slow, it's better for us to refine it. They all voiced their doubts, and they really didn't believe that the young man in front of them was not only young, but also an outsider. He can refine fourth-level pills. Yi Qingxian simply said. He can refine fourth-level pills? They were all stunned. Such a young fourth-level alchemist. All right, then I'll let him refine pills. I hope that he can really refine fourth-level pills, and not a batch of useless pills. One of the deacons could only unwillingly stand up, and prepare to give up an alchemy furnace for Yi Tianyun to refine pills. In the entire alchemy room, there were only 3 alchemy furnaces. Now that they were all occupied, there was naturally a need for one to be empty. No need, you can continue to refine pills. I have my own alchemy furnace. Yi Tianyun took out the purple fire divine furnace. This was enough. It's good that you have an alchemy furnace, but what about the alchemy fire? We have the pure flame heart flame here, which is much more outstanding than ordinary flames. Yi Qingxian asked. It was not without reason that the 3 alchemy furnaces were built here. With an unending stream of flames, they could refine higher-grade pills. Xiong. The inextinguishable flame rose up, and a flame that was countless times stronger than the flame of the alchemy furnace appeared, giving them a fright. Chapter 290. As soon as the immortal flame appeared, it immediately made everyone dumbfounded. They were all deeply shocked. Generally, even alchemists rarely had such a strong alchemy fire. Some of them were even weaker than the flames that were drawn from the ground. But now Yi Tianyun's flame was enough to shatter their thoughts. How did he subdue such a strong flame at such a young age? What kind of background does he have? Otherwise, how could he have such a strong flame? Yes, very good. Yi Qingxuan's beautiful eyes flashed. Not only does he have an alchemy furnace, but he also has such a strong flame. This is enough to prove that Yi Tianyun's alchemy level is definitely not low. What kind of pill do you need me to refine now? Just tell me. Yi Tianyun said. Now our people are seriously injured. The main thing we lack is the 4th level pill, life continuing spirit pill. There should be no problem, right? If there is no pill recipe, we still have it here. Yi Qingxian asked. 4th level pill, life continuing spirit pill, right? No problem, I still have the pill recipe. Yi Tianyun nodded and said, prepare the materials for me, the more the better. When he made a breakthrough in his alchemy proficiency, he would be provided with some important pill recipes. The life-continuing spirit pill recipe was a mainstream pill recipe, so he still had it. If it was a rare pill recipe, he wouldn't have it. For example, he doesn't have the spirit congealing pill recipe. If he had it, he would have already refined it. At that time, the strength of the Heavenly Jade sect would definitely increase by a lot. All right, I'll prepare it for you immediately. Yi Qingshuan's face lit up and immediately ordered people to prepare the materials. Soon, a lot of spirit herbs were prepared and moved in piles. They have a lot of heavenly treasures in this forest, so they have a unique advantage. Even the divine rune paper used to inscribe divine runes could be seen everywhere. No wonder the Netherworld Empire had such a strong desire to possess this place. How could they not want to own such a rich place? After Yi Tianyun selected the materials, he threw them into the purple fire divine furnace. Although the purple fire divine furnace looked very small, there was a special space inside that could hold a lot of materials to refine. After throwing it in, the immortal flame was immediately ignited completely, burning fiercely with the largest flame, causing the materials inside to immediately begin to melt, at the same time quenching all the impurities. They had only just begun, but they were already using fire to attack. This caused them to frown. Wasn't this courting death? This method was very easy to fail. Did he really know how to refine pills? What is going on? Is he really concocting pills? I feel like we're going to fail. To claim that he is a grade 4 apothecary, he must be exaggerating. It's a pity that such a good alchemy fire is wasted. If it were me, I would definitely be able to refine a higher grade of elixir. They all shook their heads. They had been looking forward to it at first, but now they realized that a rash young man had come. He probably wanted to show off. However, this was equivalent to wasting a batch of materials. These were all 4th grade materials. Many of the elders frowned and could not help but ask from the side, what is going on? Won't this kind of pill spoil? Even Yi Qingxian frowned, but she did not say anything. On the other hand, Yi Wanna clenched her fists tightly. Yi Tianyun was someone she had brought back. If she could not help the clan, she would blame herself even more. However, this process did not last long. Yi Tianyun shook the purple fire divine furnace in his hand, and a batch of pills quickly flew out and landed into the jade bottle in his hand. It's done. Yi Tianyun passed the jade bottle to Yi Qingxian and said, this is the first batch of pills, prepare to refine the second batch. What, it's done? They were all dumbfounded. Yi Qingxian received it in disbelief and poured out the pill from the jade bottle. A dense fragrance immediately surged up, and when he smelled it, he felt as if all the meridians in his body had been opened up. It was extremely comfortable. Without a doubt, this was an absolutely genuine life-prolonging spirit pill, and it was a rather high-grade life-prolonging spirit pill. This pill is at least a 3rd-grade life-prolonging spirit pill. Yi Qingxian did not know how to refine pills, but she could still tell the grade of the pill. What, in such a short period of time, he refined it, and it's of the 3rd refinement. Everyone was dumbfounded and completely shocked. They thought that it was a useless pill, but who would have thought that it was a 3rd-grade pill? Pills were divided into a total of 9 refinements, and the higher the level, the stronger the effect. Basically, the 9th refinement was equivalent to refining to the extreme, and the medicinal effect was dozens of times stronger than the 1st refinement. However, correspondingly, the difficulty was even greater, and it was basically in the realm of legends. Very few people could refine a pill at the 9th refinement level. At most, it was common to see one at the 1st to 3rd refinement level, and it was rare to see one at the 4th refinement level. However, The third refinement level was already very good, especially in such a short period of time. To them, it was simply beyond their imagination. There shouldn't be any problems, right? Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently. He was using the crazy alchemy mode, which increased the speed of refining by 8 times, and shortened the time rapidly. He knew that the situation was rather urgent, and the sooner he could refine the pill, the better. If the spirit tribe people died, he did not know if the mission would fail. After saying that, he took out a pill from Yi Qingshuan's hand and stuffed it into his mouth. Ding! Successfully consumed a life-prolonging spirit pill, replenishing 10,000 life force. This pill could replenish his life force, but his life force would not be depleted, so this thing was temporarily meaningless to him. With such a strong defense, who could hurt him? Yi Tianyun's action stunned them. Only then did they remember what Yi Tianyun had said before. As long as he refined the pill, he would first try one, and let them see if it was poisonous. Those words sounded a little harsh now. Not only did Yi Tianyun refine the pill in front of them, without adding anything else, but his speed was also quite shocking. Now he even took the pill, which made them feel very embarrassed. These pills, there shouldn't be any problems, right? Yi Tianyun said with a faint smile. No problem, the quality is very good. Yi Qingxian handed the pill to the elder next to her and said, "Hurry up and give it to the injured people to take, it will be too late." Yes. They hurriedly nodded, quickly took the pill, and left the place to treat their people. Brother Yi, you are too amazing, you really know alchemy. Yi Weina excitedly grabbed Yi Tianyun's arm, her face flushed red. This meant that she had work. Chapter 291. Yi Wen was so excited that she forgot that men and women should not touch each other. She kept grabbing Yi Tianyun's arm as if she was the one who successfully refined the pill. In fact, the most important thing was that she felt that she could help, so she was so excited. Ahem, Wen, you still don't let go? Yi Wan whispered. Ah! Yi Wen hurriedly let go of her hand, and her pretty face became red. She felt very embarrassed. I'm sorry, big brother Yi, I lost my composure. It's okay. Yi Tianyun smiled and didn't feel anything. He could feel the excitement in Yi Wen's heart. Young master, I was suspicious of you just now. I apologize here. Please forgive us for our rudeness. Yi Qingxian sincerely apologized. I know what you are thinking. I will be more cautious. After all, the situation of spirit race is not optimistic. Yi Tianyun waved his hand and said, let's not talk about this for now. If there is anything else you need, just tell me. If there is nothing else, I will continue to refine a batch of 4th level pill. No problem, I'll leave it to you then. Yi Qingxian nodded gratefully and said, now the main thing is to refine the 4th level pill. The rest is not needed for the time being. We are currently lacking the 4th level pill. Okay, I will continue to refine the 4th level pill. The speed will be a little slower, so the quality will be more stable. If you need to speed up, remember to tell me. As long as it is not an emergency, Yi Tianyun will not use crazy mode. After all, it consumes crazy point. It is not cost effective. Yes, the first batch of pills can already alleviate a lot. The rest don't need to be so urgent. Yi Qingxian said, I have something to do first. If there is anything, just tell Wen. After saying that, she left. Obviously there are still a lot of things to do. She took time out of her busy schedule to see her sister's situation, and then quickly got busy. Yi Tianyun looked at Yi Qingshuan's back and wanted to say something, but in the end, he didn't say it. He had wanted to reunite with her, but it seemed like he could only postpone it. He did not want to reunite with Yi Qingxian while exposing himself. Because he didn't know the astral's current situation, he wanted to keep his identity a secret. Immediately, he began to concoct a level 4 Dan. Yi Wen watched from the side, not daring to speak at all, for fear of disturbing him. The other alchemists were the same. Even if they were concocting pills, they couldn't help but look over. Just now, the speed of concocting pills was too fast, so they couldn't help but take a few more glances, wanting to steal a few more glances. Of course, this wasn't something that could be learned secretly. If he wasn't in crazy mode, he wouldn't have been able to refine so quickly. If there's anything you want to say, just say it. Yi Tianyun said while refining the pills. Can I? In that case, won't I disturb you? Yi Wana said. If I still fail like this, then my level is too low. Yi Tianyun smiled. This was not difficult for him at all. If he failed to speak, then his level was too low. Well, Brother Yi, I found that you are really amazing. You can also concoct pills, your cultivation is so high, and you look so young. Yi Wana said curiously. You bought so many jade spirit stones, do you also know how to inscribe divine runes? The deacons next to them all pricked up their ears. This young man also knows how to inscribe divine runes. I know a little. Yi Tianyun smiled lightly. A little? Yi Wana said proudly. That's definitely not as good as you in alchemy, and definitely not as good as the spirit race. I have reached the level of a level 5 divine rune master. I should say I have reached the level of a level 5 divine rune master. If Brother Yi wants any divine rune, I can help you inscribe it. As long as it is below the level of a level 5 divine rune, I can successfully inscribe it. Yi Tianyun smiled. Okay, if I need anything, I will definitely look for you. He was just joking. He had reached the level of a divine rune master. Although he could not compare to a top divine rune master, at least he had entered the level of a divine rune master. After that, there was nothing else to talk about. Yi Wana just quietly watched him concoct pills. This was the only thing she could do now, and she couldn't walk around the spirit tower as she pleased, so she could only stay here. Yi Tianyun continued to concoct pills, refining batch after batch. In one breath, he had refined several batches of life-continuing spirit pills, spending a lot of time. The other deacons of the spirit race had already rested, but he was still concocting pills. His endurance could not be said to be not strong. This made the deacons of the spirit race look at each other, not knowing what to say. After a short rest, they immediately continued to concoct pills. They were all influenced by Yi Tianyun. An outsider was already working so hard, what reason did they have not to work hard? After a while, Yi Qingxian suddenly came in and hurriedly said, Do you have any more life-continuing spirit pills? We are in short supply now. Sister, you are here. Yi Wana came over with 5 or 6 bottles of life-continuing spirit pills and said, These are all life-continuing spirit pills. Big Brother Yi has refined a lot. This. When Yi Qingxian saw the pile of pills, she was stunned. She did not expect that in such a short time, he has successfully refined so many pills, but she did not say too much. She took the bottles and thanked Yi Tianyun. This is enough for the time being, you can rest now, thank you very much. After this matter is over, Spirit Race will regard you as an eternal friend and reward you handsomely. Successfully completed Save the Spirit Race Quest 1. Fill the Spirit Race's medicinal pill shortage, gaining 5,000 EXP, 5,000 Crazy Point, 5,000 Alchemy Mastery, 50 Spirit Race Favorability. Successfully completed Save Spirit Race Quest 2. Help Spirit Race repair Divine Rune, reward 10 million EXP, 10,000 Crazy Point, 10,000 Divine Rune Mastery, 50 Spirit Race Favorability. When Yi Tianyun was stunned, Yi Qingxian turned to Yi Wana and said, Wana, come with me, we are in need of a 5th grade Divine Rune Master, we need to repair the Divine Rune formation. Okay, no problem. Yi Wana nodded heavily and was ready to leave. Saintess, I wonder if I can come with you? Yi Tianyun said as he stood up. He has a task now, although it is not a problem to complete it, but if he completes it, he will get a lot of EXP, how can he miss this opportunity? This. Yi Qingxian hesitated, but still nodded and said, Yes, then please come with us, young master. Chapter 292. After agreeing, Yi Qingxian brought him to the top of the spirit pagoda. As they walked up the winding staircase, they could see the flickering divine runes around them. He could feel the rapid loss of energy. I wonder if you can tell me what exactly happened? Yi Tianyun frowned and asked, Could it be that the Netherworld Empire is attacking us? Yes, the Netherworld Empire is attacking. They have already broken into our formation and are destroying it. In order to resist them, we have to use all of our power to open the tower. Yi Qingxian explained, due to the activation of the divine runes at full power, the rate at which the runes are being consumed is increasing. Many of them have been damaged. Don't the spirit race have a lot of divine rune masters? Why can't they repair the runes? Yi Tianyun asked. The spirit race had very high attainments in divine runes. They had several divine rune masters and even some grandmasters. There were also a lot of 5th grade divine rune masters. However, it was rare for someone like Yi Wan to be a 5th grade divine rune master at such a young age. Yi Wan's talent was amazing. Even the elder sister could become the holy maiden. As the younger sister, how could she be any worse? Yi Qingxian sighed. Yi Wan's eyes were filled with sadness. It was obvious that Yi Qingxian had touched her sore spot. When the spirit race rebelled, many divine rune masters were captured. Now, there is only one divine rune master left. Even the top 5th grade divine rune masters are few. Most of them are around the 4th grade divine rune masters. Yi Qingxian did not hide anything. Yi Tianyun's actions had gained their trust. Moreover, it was not a secret. Although not many people in the outside world knew about it, at least the big forces knew about it. Now, the spirit race was an empty shell. Most of the divine rune masters had been captured. There were also some who betrayed the spirit race. There were very few divine rune masters left. So that's how it is. Yi Tianyun roughly knew what was going on. No wonder Yi Wan was asked to help. There was a lack of manpower. Under normal circumstances, if there were divine rune masters, they would not need their help. If he wasn't good enough, the more he helped, the more trouble he would cause. Soon, they arrived at the top floor of the pagoda. As soon as they stepped in, Yi Tianyun saw that the surroundings were filled with large pieces of jade spirit stones. Some of them were almost empty. The jade spirit stone looked quite transparent, and it was obvious that it was about to be exhausted. Other than this, there were also many divine inscriptionists busily repairing divine inscriptions. Their grades weren't low, they were all 5th grade divine inscriptionists. Among them, there was a divine inscriptionist grandmaster who was repairing her divine inscriptions. Her speed was clearly a level higher compared to the others, and she was also a female cultivator. Elder Yang, what's the situation now? Yi Qingxian walked over and asked. The situation doesn't look too good. Many of the divine inscriptions are about to be damaged. Once they're damaged, the divine inscriptions we've set up in the forest will disappear. Elder Yang furrowed his brows, as a cold light flickered in his eyes. To be able to destroy our divine inscriptions so quickly, I'm afraid that Lei Yun and the others must be the ones leading their troops in. If this continues, I'm afraid we won't be able to hold on for too long. Lei Yun. Yi Qingxuan's eyes were filled with killing intent. The one who imprisoned her was none other than Lei Yun. If it weren't for her coming back to see through the ruse, the spirit race would have already fallen. However, by the time she came back, it was already too late. Many of the elders had already been captured, and the ones at the top were all gone. Only those with lower cultivation bases were left. Thinking back to when elder sister was betrothed to Lei Yun by the elders, I feel disgusted just thinking about it. Luckily, elder sister didn't marry Lei Yun, Yi Wan said angrily. Let's not talk about him. We need to quickly repair the array to prevent them from destroying it. Yi Qingxuan's eyes flashed with disgust, and she didn't want to talk about him anymore. This is the friend who helped us concoct the pills? Elder Yang's gaze shifted to Yi Tianyun. Greetings, Elder Yang. Yi Tianyun smiled. Young Master Yi, we are preparing to repair the array. You can watch from the side. Yi Qingxian said. She didn't know Yi Tianyun's real name, but Yi Wan had always called him Big Brother Yi, so she addressed him as Young Master Yi. Can I help to repair the array? Yi Tianyun asked. Repair the array? They were stunned. Yi Qingxian immediately asked, You also know divine inscriptions? I wonder how high the grade is. If the grade is lower than the 5th grade, you won't be able to repair the divine inscriptions here. In terms of grade, it is indeed at the level of a 5th grade divine inscriptionist. Yi Tianyun said after thinking for a while. Big Brother Yi, you are really a 5th grade divine inscriptionist? Yi Wan's beautiful eyes widened. If it was true, she had previously bragged in front of Yi Tianyun that her divine inscriptions were very powerful. The most important thing was that Yi Tianyun not only knew how to concoct pills, but he was also a 5th-grade divine inscriptionist. If that was true, how did he cultivate? I wonder if I can help. Yi Tianyun smiled faintly. If that's the case, let's give it a try. Yi Qingxian thought for a while and decided to let Yi Tianyun give it a try. They were currently short of manpower. If Yi Tianyun could help, that would be the best. If that's the case, then go and try to repair the 5th-grade divine inscriptions. Elder Yang did not object. Right now, they were all anxious. As long as he was not an enemy, it would be best if he could help. No problem, I'll go and try. Yi Tianyun walked over and stood in front of the 5th-grade divine inscriptions. The 5th-grade divine inscriptions had already been damaged by more than half, and the marks had become a lot fainter. If this continued, the marks would completely disappear, and the effects would naturally disappear. When he arrived, he took out the Imperial Spirit Pen. This was a soul-grade divine inscription pen. As soon as he took it out, their eyes lit up. Even the tools were available. It seemed like it was very reliable. Immediately after, Yi Tianyun began to repair the divine inscriptions. He did not need the Heaven's Eye at all, nor did he dare to use it. He did not know if Yi Qingxian had told anyone that she had given her innate talent to him. Therefore, whether it was the Heaven's Eye or his identity, he could not reveal it, not even to the elders. Very quickly, he held the Imperial Spirit Pen in his hand and began to repair the divine inscriptions. His speed was relatively fast, and in the blink of an eye, he had repaired a portion of the divine inscriptions. Although it was not completely repaired, it was enough to prove that Yi Tianyun's standard was definitely at the level of a 5th-grade divine inscriptionist. When this scene fell into their eyes, they were deeply shocked. Chapter 293. Although they didn't think that Yi Tianyun was joking, but when they saw Yi Tianyun's proficiency in repairing the runes of a 5th-grade rune master, they were all deeply shocked. Cultivators with powerful dual professions were too rare. If he really was a dual profession cultivator who had cultivated to an extremely high level, he would definitely not be young. The Yi Tianyun in front of them looked at most 26 or 27 years old, but he had already cultivated to a high level of dual professions. It was simply incredible. If they knew Yi Tianyun's age, he is only 17 or 18 years old, what would they think? The super-powerful system gave him unlimited possibilities. Otherwise, if he climbed step by step, even if he was talented, it would take a long time to cultivate to this level. Ding, successfully repaired a 5th-grade rune, gained 500,000 experience points, rune proficiency increased by 500. It's repaired. Yi Tianyun let out a deep breath. It wasn't difficult to repair this 5th-grade rune, it was relatively easy. They looked down at the rune on the ground and found that it was indeed repaired quite perfectly. Even if it was Elder Yang who repaired it, it would probably only be at this level. You're really a 5th-grade rune master. Yi Wan covered her mouth in shock. Yi Tianyun was really a 5th-grade rune master. When did I lie? Yi Tianyun shrugged, feeling a little helpless. Very good, with you as a helper, our situation will definitely be different. Yi Qingxian nodded and said, then let's start repairing the runes now, and repair all the damaged runes here. Following that, they all immersed themselves in repairing the runes. There were many damaged runes here, and there were still many that needed to be repaired. Yi Qingxian and the others didn't look too good, mainly because they had been repairing these runes all this time, which caused serious mental exhaustion. As the runes were repaired one by one, everything progressed relatively smoothly. Just when they thought that everything was so smooth, suddenly, the rune in the middle of the pagoda made a hum sound and began to tremble violently, vaguely feeling that it was about to collapse. This immediately attracted the attention of everyone. Yi Tianyun discovered that this divine imprint seemed to have suffered some kind of impact, as though it was about to collapse at any moment. The divine inscriptions on the eastern side of the forest are beginning to suffer a severe impact. Someone must have used some kind of method to cause the divine inscriptions to suffer such a great impact. Elder Yang's face was solemn. If this continues, the eastern side of the forest will be completely lost. If the eastern forest falls, they will attack. Yi Qingxuan's face darkened, causing their hearts to sink. Let me repair it. If I can hold on for a while, I will. Elder Yang's hands shone brightly as he prepared to repair this huge divine inscription. If they wanted to repair this divine inscription, it would be impossible without Elder Yang's help. From the looks of it, the difficulty of repairing this divine inscription was definitely at the Grandmaster grade. However, Elder Yang had only just begun to repair it, and before he could do much, his face grew paler and paler, and he broke out in a cold sweat. In the end, his body swayed, and he nearly collapsed. Yi Wn, who was beside him, hurriedly helped her and worriedly asked, "Elder Yang, are you all right?" "I'm fine. I'm just a little tired. I can still repair it." Elder Yang straightened his body, but the situation still looked very bad. She had been repairing here for too long without any time to rest. Even if she was made of iron, she would still collapse. "Elder Yang, leave this to me. Go and rest." Yi Qingxian stood up, her eyes filled with determination. "Saintess, you repair it." Elder Yang looked at her and immediately nodded. "Although I can use the Heaven's Eye to repair it, the consumption is a little too much. You have to be careful." Elder Yang did not refuse to let Yi Qingxian repair it. She really could not hold on any longer, so she could only choose to give up. "Elder Yang, let me help you to rest." Yi Wan supported Elder Yang to the side to rest. The other spirit race attendants also walked over to check on Elder Yang's situation. However, their expressions were also not very good. None of them were in the best condition. Yi Qingxian did not hesitate. She stood in front of the huge divine rune. After taking a deep breath, her eyes flashed, and the talent of the Heaven's Eye was instantly activated. Following that, her control had improved a lot, and then she began to repair the divine rune. However, the speed of the repair was relatively slow. Her true level was at the late stage of the 5th grade divine rune, and she could be considered to be half a step into the level of a divine rune master. The criteria to become a saintess was very simple. That was to have astonishing talent and leadership skills. Therefore, Yi Qingxuan's talent was not bad. It would not take too long for her to enter the level of a divine rune master. However, she was not a divine rune master at the moment. Relying on her powerful talent, she temporarily raised the level of a divine rune master, so that she could repair it. Otherwise, Elder Yang would not have let her repair it. If she did not have the ability to repair it, it would only make things worse. "Quickly repair it, quickly repair it." Yi Qingxian repaired it bit by bit. The speed was not fast, but at least it was little by little. However, with every repair, her face became a little paler. If this continued, she would definitely not be able to persist. She did not have much rest in the first place. How could she continue to repair it for so long? Yi Qingxuan's body swayed, and the scene in front of her swayed. Her body actually fell to the side, but a warm and broad hand had already supported her. "Are you all right?" Yi Tianyun asked as he supported her. "I'm fine. Thank you, young Master Yi." Yi Qingxian wanted to leave his support, but this warm hand was already tightly grasping her arm, making it impossible for her to break free. "Let me repair this." Yi Tianyun looked at her and smiled. Just as Yi Qingxian was about to say something, he had already taken off his mask, revealing his true appearance. In just an instant, Yi Qingxian had already seen it clearly. She was completely stunned, but very quickly, Yi Tianyun put the mask back on. "I said that I would help you, and you also said that if you are alive, you will marry me. This. She was so shocked that she couldn't speak. She definitely couldn't recognize this figure, but she could definitely recognize this appearance. This was the youth who had saved her a long time ago. This. She was so shocked that she could not speak. This figure was definitely not recognizable, but this appearance was definitely the youth who saved her a long time ago. "There's no need for you. Let me repair it. This divine rune grand array is not difficult for me." Chapter 294. Yi Tianyun took over Yi Qingxuan's position. This action attracted the attention of many spirit clan members, and they were all very surprised. Could it be that Yi Tianyun could repair this master-level divine rune? Just as they were about to ask, Yi Tianyun had already begun to repair it. His speed was even faster than Yi Qingxuan's, especially because he was more energetic, so the repair was continuous, and there was no need to worry about it breaking. What is this situation? Big brother Yi can repair this master-level divine rune. Yi Wan felt that she was about to faint. The impact was too great. To be able to repair a master-level divine rune, although it did not mean that he was definitely at the level of a divine rune master, it definitely meant that he was extremely close to it, or had already entered the beginner level. This time, the original high-level dual professions had once again increased by a large margin. Not only was he a divine rune master, but he was also a fourth-grade alchemist. How did he cultivate? Elder Yang was dumbfounded. He originally wanted to recover, but now that he saw Yi Tianyun's situation, he was dumbfounded and forgot what he was supposed to do. Yi Tianyun did not pay attention to their gazes, but continued to repair the divine rune. The difficulty of repairing a divine rune was not just a little bit higher than a 5th-grade divine rune, but several times, or even more than 10 times harder. There was a difficulty in repairing, but it was still acceptable. At least it was not inscribing a divine rune, that was more difficult. The key was that he could not use his innate talent, lest he expose his heaven's eye. However, he had already exposed his identity to Yi Qingxian, and while there was no one around, he took the opportunity to say it. A simple sentence was enough for him. Isn't the level of your divine rune too high, and you also know alchemy? Yi Qingxuan's tone suddenly changed a lot, as if she had become an old friend, and asked softly beside him. Yi Tianyun could see that Yi Qingxuan's favorable impression of him had suddenly soared to the level of more than 200. Originally, their favorable impression was not low, but because he did not show his true face, his favorable impression of him had always fluctuated around 100, and he could be considered as a friend. However, after his identity was exposed, the situation was completely different. In addition to the previous stacking, his favorability points shot up to 300. If I could use the third eye, the effect would be even more amazing, Yi Tianyun said with a faint smile. I don't think you told anyone about this, did you? How would I dare to say it? If I say it, my position as the saintess will be in trouble. Of course, there's no harm in saying it now. I'm just worried that your problem will be exposed. Yi Qingxian smiled faintly and said, if you can't hold on, then use the heavenly eye. I can still handle the situation. Yi Qingxuan's words were within Yi Tianyun's expectations. If Yi Tianyun knew that her innate gift was given to an outsider, Yi Tianyun would definitely be in trouble. Therefore, this must be kept a secret. How could such a small problem trouble me? When I saved you, you said that you couldn't break it, but didn't I still break it? Yi Tianyun smiled, and his hands did not stop. He continued to repair the divine inscription. You really have a lot of ideas. When I heard that the benefactor my sister brought was surnamed Yi, I thought of you at that time. But after seeing you, I found that it was not you at all. Now it seems that I was wrong. You don't even show your true face. Yi Qingxian glared at him and snorted, you still hid it from me. Did you deliberately watch me make a fool of myself? I don't have time to tell you. My identity is a bit special now. If it is exposed, I'm afraid it will be a fatal disaster. Yi Tianyun said helplessly. They were all talking through sound transmission, so the others could not hear what they were talking about. Special identity? Yi Qingxian was a little confused, but she did not ask further. Instead, she rolled her eyes at him and said, no matter what, you hid it from me. Big sister, I didn't do it on purpose. Besides, didn't I come to help you? Your elder almost didn't let me in. Otherwise, I wouldn't know how to meet you. Yi Tianyun said helplessly, speaking of which, you said before that if you were still alive, you would marry me. While he was repairing the sacred sigil, he did not forget to tease her a little. Yi Qingxuan's face instantly turned red. She immediately snorted and said, you wish. As the holy lady, how can I marry someone? If you can become the king of the spirit tribe, I can consider it. Yi Tianyun looked at her blushing face. He didn't expect that the saintess would be so shy like this. No matter what, at least I am qualified to help you. Yi Tianyun smiled. Yes. I really can't imagine it. Time has passed so quickly. Yi Qingxian thought back to the young and inexperienced youth. She did not expect that in less than a year, he had already reached this level. She could not even react. Initially, she thought that Yi Tianyun would need at least a few years to be able to help her. She did not expect that in less than a year, he could already help her. He was simply a monster. Soon, with Yi Tianyun's help, the master sacred sigil was repaired. When the last stroke was finished, the entire sacred sigil hummed and released a dazzling light, proving that the sacred sigil had been completely repaired. After the sacred sigil was repaired, the entire pagoda released a faint light, and it was more stable than before. However, this was only a part of it. Yi Tianyun quickly went to repair the other sacred sigil. His repair speed was quite shocking. It was as if he did not know fatigue as he began to repair the other sacred sigil. His experience also soared. Because the sacred sigil here were all high-grade sacred sigil, repairing it gave him a lot of experience. Most importantly, the experience would increase according to his level. It would not be too low. It's repaired. After Yi Tianyun stopped, he took a deep breath, his forehead was full of sweat, and at the same time, the sound of the system rang in his ears. Ding! Successfully repaired a 5th grade divine imprint. Reward, 300,000 experience points, 500 divine imprint proficiency point. Successfully completed quest save spirit race, quest 2 help spirit race repair divine rune, reward 10 million EXP, 10. 000 crazy point, 10. 000 divine rune mastery, 50 spirit race favorability. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully breaking through to level 3 of core transformation stage. A series of notifications popped up in front of him, which allowed him to successfully break through to the 3rd level of core transformation stage. The reason why Xiao Chen could break through so quickly was because he had killed the 2 ancestors of the divine inscription manor and gained a lot of experience. Now that he had repaired a few formations, he could break through. Successfully accepted save the spirit race quest 3, repel the Netherworld Empire's invaders. Reward, 30 million EXP, 10. 000 CPS, 5. 000 SPS, 50 spirit race favorability. Chapter 295. Yes, this is the effect I want. Yi Tianyun is very satisfied with this chain quest. The more quests the better, and the rewards are good. Although there is no item reward, what is better than a lot of EXP? Great, all the divine runes are repaired. Yi Qingxuan's face showed a bit of relief. After the divine runes are repaired, there is no problem for the time being. She immediately said to Yi Tianyun, "Thank you for your hard work, take a rest, and leave the rest to us." No, this is just a matter of time. If we don't eliminate the intruders, we will have to repair the divine runes soon. If we continue like this, we won't be able to hold on for long. Yi Tianyun shook his head, plus the system reminded him to do a quest, there is no point for him to do anything. They were startled, and their face was a bit strange, but they immediately sighed. In fact, we have been resisting for a long time, so we can't leave for the time being, so the situation is not optimistic. Yi Qingxian shook her head and said, even if we go, we won't be able to resist. This time, they have a lot of experts. They don't have many experts left here, there are only 1 or 2 core transformation stage experts left, and there are a lot of spirit core stage experts, but they are also injured. As for the void spirit stage experts, they have already been captured. Void spirit stage expert is very strong, but it doesn't mean that they are invincible, as long as they are ambushed, they can still be controlled. How many experts do they have? Do you know the details? Yi Tianyun frowned and asked. With Lei Yun leading the team, there are a few elders, and a few deacons, there are a total of 5 core transformation stage experts, and there are at least a dozen spirit core stage experts, and this is not including the Netherworld Empire's experts. If we didn't have the protection of the divine rune array left by the old ancestor, we would have fallen long ago. Yi Qingxuan's silver eyes flashed with anger, obviously because of the traitors. Oh, 5 core transformation stage cultivators, but none of them are void spirit stage cultivators? Yi Tianyun thought. That shouldn't be the case. Void spirit stage cultivators are equivalent to general level cultivators. If Lei Yun wants to make a contribution, he won't send general level cultivators. Yi Qingxian shook her head. No void spirit stage cultivators? That's enough. Yi Tianyun said with a smile on his face. I will deal with them. You are going to deal with them? How are you going to do that? Yi Wn who was next to him, was dumbfounded. She found it unbelievable. Do you even need to ask? I'll definitely use my fists. Don't tell me I'm going to use my mouth to scare them away. Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently. He turned his head and said to Yi Qingxian, do you want to come along? Yi Qingxian smiled and said without hesitation, then let's go together. Are you all crazy? There are so many enemies there. Big brother Yi is impulsive, but sister, why are you so impulsive? Yi Wana thought that they are all crazy. She thought that Yi Tianyun is crazy, but now even Yi Qingxian is so impulsive. Saintess, we can't do this. As long as we continue to drag on, they will definitely choose to retreat, and then we will think of another way. Elder Yang persuaded at the same time. Her cultivation is not low, she is at second-level core transformation stage, but if she goes on the battlefield, she won't be able to deal with Lei Yun and the others. As for escaping, it's very difficult for them to do so. Before they attacked, they could still sneak out, but now that they are here, it won't be so easy to escape. What other way can we do? Ask for help from other sects, or do you have other helpers? Yi Qingxian asked. That one sentence blocked all the words they wanted to say, leaving them speechless. We are not necessarily going to lose this battle. The Divine Rune Great Array is repaired, and it will definitely be more hidden than before, and it will be easier to sneak attack them. Yi Qingxuan's eyes were full of killing intent. Whether we can win or not, at least we can kill as many of them as we can. Before the Divine Rune Great Array was repaired, I thought about this problem, but it's not safe. The clansmen we sent out are the best example. They are easy to spot. But now it's different. With the Divine Rune Great Array's protection, the effect will definitely be different. I think young Master Yi should be thinking of this idea, to sneak attack them ruthlessly. Yi Qingxian fiercely analyzed the situation, and her words were reasonable, which made everyone agree with her. Thinking about it carefully, after the Divine Rune Great Array is repaired, it will indeed strengthen the Divine Rune Great Array, which is very beneficial for them. No, that's not my idea. My idea is very simple, to directly destroy them. Yi Tianyun didn't give her face and fiercely refuted. Yi Qingxian glared at him fiercely. He didn't give her face at all. Won't that be too reckless? Elder Yang frowned and said. No, there's not much time left. Saintess, let's go. Yi Tianyun didn't explain too much. It was better to show off later. Okay, let's go now. They are trapped in the forest now. It's the best time for us to attack. Yi Qingxian nodded. Elder Yang, stay here and watch the situation. We will go and drive them out. Elder sister, I want to help too. Yi Wana volunteered bravely. You stay here and watch the spirit pagoda. This is also a very important task. Yi Qingxian looked at her and said in a deep voice, if the Divine Rune Great Array is destroyed, you can imagine the consequences. Yes. Yi Wana paused for a moment, then solemnly agreed. After saying this, Yi Qingxian led Yi Tianyun away. It seems that you still don't want to let your sister face danger. Yi Tianyun said with a faint smile. Although it seemed that he had given her a heavy responsibility, there was no problem with the Divine Rune now, and there wouldn't be any problem for a while. Even if there was a problem, Elder Yang would be able to solve it. There was no need to use her. In the end, he wanted her to stay here. He didn't want anything to happen to her. People are selfish. She is my sister. I don't want to see anything happen to her. Never. Yi Qingxuan's silver eyes flashed with a cold light. Don't worry, everything will be fine. I am here. Yi Tianyun's voice was full of magic, and she couldn't help but nod her head. She didn't know why, but even though she knew that she was facing a powerful force like the Netherworld Empire, Yi Tianyun's words made her feel very calm. Perhaps she thought of the moment when she was full of despair. She had already survived such a desperate moment. What more could she do? Chapter 296. Yi Tianyun didn't know whether the Spirit Clan was confident or not, but he was absolutely confident that he could get rid of this group of trash. As long as there were no void spirit stage cultivators, he could easily suppress them. Under Yi Qingxuan's lead, they quickly arrived at the main hall of the Spirit Tower. After discussing some matters with some elders, they immediately gathered a group of spirit clan cultivators. The strongest cultivator was only at the spirit core stage, and there was no core transformation stage cultivator. The current situation was really shabby. Is this all the spirit clan has? Yi Tianyun looked at the remaining spirit core stage cultivators. There were only 6 or 7 spirit core stage cultivators left, but there were still a lot of core condensation stage cultivators. But in this kind of war, core condensation stage cultivators were useless. They were basically cannon fodder. The reality was cruel. The more powerful a faction was, the more ordinary a faction would be. Previously, a powerful force within a small faction would become a relatively ordinary existence here. Although the spirit clan was called a clan, in fact, it was definitely a top 3rd grade force, or even a 4th grade force. Because there were too many strong cultivators, and all of them were divine rune masters, it was comparable to a 4th grade force. But there were too few people, and a lot of people had rebelled, so the result was only this group of people left. Those who rebelled were nothing more than people who were blinded by power. They didn't want to hide in this godforsaken place. What they pursued was glory, splendor, wealth, and the respect of tens of thousands of people. They did not want to be unknown and live in seclusion in the mountains. Yes, most of them were captured and locked in the Netherworld Empire's prison. They can't get out at all. Yi Qingxian shook her head and said, "We sent a lot of people to rescue them, but they didn't succeed. Moreover, the prison is very strict, so it's hard for us to find the key to open it." The key to open the prison? Yi Tianyun's face was a little strange. He remembered that he got the key to the prison from Cheng Feng. Yes, not only do we need to sneak in, but we also need the key. The Netherworld Empire's prison is not an ordinary prison. Even a void spirit stage cultivator can't break it. It's very strong. Yi Qingshuan's tone was filled with anger. Because that prison was built with the help of our ancestor. The divine runes carved on it are extremely sturdy. They are at the level of a divine rune grandmaster. It's not that easy to break through. I never thought that in the end, it would become our own prison. Although Yi Tianyun didn't know why the Netherworld Empire helped him with this prison, he believed that they had a good relationship in the beginning. Later on, the Netherworld Empire wanted to obtain the spirit race, so they helped him. Then this ancestor? Yi Tianyun asked. Elder ancestor is old and his lifespan is coming to an end. Now that he's in prison, if he's tortured. Yi Qingxian closed her eyes in pain. She couldn't finish her sentence, but Yi Tianyun could hear it. In a situation where his lifespan was about to end, he was still being tortured. The result was certain death. For a highly respected ancestor to be tortured to death just like that was a humiliation. After everything here is over, we'll go to the Netherworld Empire and save everyone, Yi Tianyun said in a deep voice. Now, let's get rid of these scourges first. All right. Yi Qingxian didn't think too much about it. She was determined to go to the Netherworld Empire to save everyone. After they gathered together, they quickly rushed into the forest. Yi Qingxian explained the situation to Yi Tianyun as they went deeper into the forest. If even their own people got lost in the forest, it would be troublesome. The deacons of the spirit race were surprised to see their saintess being so close to an outsider. They had never seen their saintess being so close to a man, whether it was inside or outside the spirit race. They had never seen such a thing. This was definitely the first time they had seen such a thing. I have a general understanding of the situation. Leave it to me. A cold light flashed in Yi Tianyun's eyes. There is something I need to tell you in advance, that is, if I encounter those traitors, should I kill them directly? Or should I leave them to you? Except for Lei Yun, kill them all. Yi Qingshuan's eyes were extremely cold. Of course, it's best if you can capture them alive. If there's no other way, then kill them all. These traitors were not worthy of being spirit race. They even killed their own people. How could they be worthy of being spirit race? All right, no problem. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. He knew that Lei Yun would definitely stay and he would be able to get a lot of information from him. After discussing the plan, they began to move in groups. As for Yi Tianyun and Yi Qingxian, they would personally lead the operation. We're almost there. At this time, Yi Qingxian slowed down a little and said in a hurry, "Hide your body and restrain your breath so that we won't be discovered." At this time, she turned around and found that Yi Tianyun had disappeared. She was stunned. "Where is he?" Suddenly, she felt a light tap on her shoulder. She immediately turned around and saw Yi Tianyun smiling at her. "He's here. What's the matter?" Yi Qingxian rolled her eyes at him and said, "Why is there no aura at all? I thought you lost us. Didn't you tell me to hide my body?" "I did." Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders. Just when he was about to say something, his eyes suddenly became cold. "Sure, someone is coming this way." Yi Qingxian nodded and didn't say anything. Instead, she led Yi Tianyun to the side and hid beside a tree. "Master Wu, the divine inscription here has suddenly been repaired. That's why we can't break this maze formation. Please forgive us." A spirit race cultivator bowed his head and said apologetically. Wu Peng's cultivation was not low. He was a general of the Netherworld Empire. His cultivation had reached the 3rd level of core transformation stage. He led a group of spirit race traitors to break this maze formation. "Why can't it be broken even if it's repaired?" Wu Peng frowned. "We have been trapped here for so long. If we continue like this, how long will it take for us to complete the mission? If the Great Emperor punishes us, even I will have to suffer. It won't be long. Our patriarch is already working hard to break this maze formation. As long as the main formation in this pagoda is broken, all the maze formations here will be ineffective." The traitor said hurriedly. "Trash. Can't you break the maze formation?" Wu Peng looked at them coldly. We are not good enough." They were embarrassed. Although their cultivation level was not low, they were not divine inscription masters. How could they break the maze formation so easily? This is really bad luck. If Liao Cheng takes the credit, how can I make a contribution to the Netherworld Empire? Wu Peng looked at them with disgust. Even if they joined the Netherworld Empire, they were still treated like dogs. Yi Tianyun was hiding on the side. Yi Qingxian said to Yi Tianyun, "It's a bit troublesome. There is a core transformation stage cultivator here. But we can sneak attack those spirit core stage cultivators." "I almost forgot, what is your cultivation level?" When she turned her head to look at Yi Tianyun, she found that Yi Tianyun had disappeared. At this time, Yi Tianyun's voice came from the front. Chapter 297. The sudden appearance of Yi Tianyun startled them. They didn't know when Yi Tianyun appeared in front of them. "Who is it? Not spirit race?" When Wu Peng saw Yi Tianyun, he looked him up and down, and immediately frowned and said, "I don't know where did you come from, you got lost here just like us, and scared me. Kill him." The sudden appearance startled them, making Wu Peng very unhappy in his heart. He was already unhappy about getting lost, but he didn't expect that an idiot would appear and get lost here with him. The consequence of startling him was the death penalty. "Yes, Senior Wu." The spirit race traitor next to Wu Peng immediately said, "I don't know where you came from, but I'm sorry, today is your bang." The spirit clan traitor was sent flying, and after tumbling a few times, he was no longer breathing. Ding. Successfully killed spirit race traitor. Reward, 350,000 EXP, 3600 crazy point, 200 SPS, 800 divine rune proficiency. Obtained martial art heavenly spirit step, heavenly spirit palm. Obtained heavenly spirit pen, mid-grade soul tool, tyrant rune paper, rare. Yi Tianyun didn't show any mercy. What did you say just now?" Yi Tianyun looked at the corpse lying on the ground and said indifferently, "I'm sorry, I didn't listen to you. I wanted to take you out of here, but who knew you wanted to kill me? In that case, I'll kill you." The next moment, Yi Tianyun rushed up and kicked a spirit race traitor. Even the Netherworld Empire's soldiers were sent flying. After being kicked, they didn't get up again. "Don't you dare." After Wu Peng saw this, he flew into a rage. He pulled out a blood-red demonic saber and slashed over. A blood-red light soared into the sky, and countless skeletons were released from the demonic saber, making the forest look even more sinister and terrifying. It was unknown how much blood had this demonic saber been soaked in, how much essence blood had been used to refine it to reach such a level. The attack was domineering enough. Apart from the blood-red blade light that was aimed at Yi Tianyun, the rest of the red blade lights hit the giant trees on the side. However, they did not cause any damage to the giant trees. This was the reason why they couldn't cut down the giant trees along the way. These giant trees were very hard, and it would take a lot of effort to cut them down. Who knew how long it would take for them to chop down the trees one by one? Absorbing Star's great technique. Yi Tianyun stretched out his hand, and a terrifying suction force sucked the blood-red skeleton into his body, turning it into experience points. To him, this attack was not challenging at all. So what if I am impudent? Yi Tianyun laughed. His figure flashed and appeared in front of Wu Peng. His speed was much faster than Wu Peng. Without using any weapons, he simply smashed down with his fist. The tyrannical dragon god bloodline was released, and the power instantly exploded. Dong! Wu Peng was hit hard and flew out, smashing into the giant tree. Under this terrifying impact, the giant tree only shook a little, but there was a deep mark on it. On the other hand, Wu Peng's chest had already caved in. Under this violent punch, there were really not many people who could resist it. Wu Peng groaned and slid to the ground. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his consciousness became blurred. No wonder it was so hard. It turns out that he was wearing a high-quality armor. Yi Tianyun's fist hurt a little, but this punch was too domineering. He didn't even need to use his crazy damage mode to beat Wu Peng half to death. Even though he was wearing a high-grade soul tool, he was still smashed half to death by his punch. Even a high-grade soul tool could not completely block the super penetrative power. Lord Wu. The remaining guards and traitors trembled in fear as they looked at Yi Tianyun. Do you know who you killed? He is Lord Wu of the Netherworld Empire. You have provoked the Netherworld Empire. Can't you people change your words? Every time you use the Netherworld Empire's power to oppress people. Am I blind? Can't I see the equipment you are wearing? Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders helplessly. My saintess, why don't you make a move? As soon as he finished speaking, a silver light flashed out, and several guards were instantly frozen into ice sculptures. Moreover, a silver whip lashed out, and with a bang, these ice sculptures were smashed into pieces. The attack was extremely ruthless. No one expected that it would be done by a woman. One of the spirit race traitors did not die. Half of his body was frozen, and he could not move at all. The powerful frost energy froze everything in an instant. My saintess. When the traitor saw Yi Qingxian in front of him, he was scared out of his wits. Oh, you still call me saintess? Do you think you are qualified to call me that? Yi Qingxian looked at him and sneered. Don't worry, I will thoroughly clean up all of you traitors. I will thoroughly clean up the spirit race. My saintess, you can't blame me for this. Elder Lei Yun instigated us to do this. If we don't go with him, we will die. The traitor kept begging for mercy. He didn't want to die here. Do you think I will believe you? Yi Qingxian fiercely lashed out with her silver whip. Bang! The traitor was sent flying and his lower body was smashed into pieces. After being frozen, one's body would become extremely fragile. A heavy silver whip would shatter one's body. The traitor let out a blood-curdling scream as blood splattered everywhere. He fell to the ground and struggled. Shi Yunan had a good relationship with Lei Yun when he was in the spirit race. He often helped Lei Yun to do things. He even helped Lei Yun punish his clansmen. When Lei Yun chose to join the Netherworld Empire, he did not hesitate to join Lei Yun's camp and helped him capture talented clansmen. Since I am the saintess of the spirit race, I will never wrongly accuse any of my clansmen, nor will I let go of any traitors, Yi Qingxian said in a deep voice. After hearing this, Shi Yunan's face turned pale. It seemed that the information about him had been completely collected. It was impossible to deny it. Bang! Yi Qingxian lashed out with her whip, giving Shi Yunan a quick death. She wanted him to understand why he died. After killing Shi Yunan, there was no joy in Yi Qingxuan's beautiful eyes, only pain. It was true that Shi Yunan was a traitor, but no one wanted to kill their own clansman. Especially since the spirit race didn't have many people, no one wanted to end up like this. Chapter 298. The enlistment of the Netherworld Empire seemed to bring benefits, but in fact, it was assimilation. Over time, these people were scattered and integrated into the Netherworld Empire. It seemed to be a good idea, but the spirit race had been around for many years, so they valued the secrets of the spirit race more. Once all of the spirit race's secrets were taken away, they would lose their value and their lives would have nothing to do with them. In fact, enlistment was not terrible. Joining a powerful empire was good for any force. What they were afraid of was that the empire they joined would be too overbearing and ruthless. They would throw away everything like a waste. They would even make the forces they joined work for them. In the end, their own forces would fall apart and eventually disappear. More importantly, it was to replace the upper echelons of a force. At that time, they would be able to control a force that was not weak and work hard for them, becoming their subordinates. The Heaven's Top Mansion was the best example. Once the top leaders were replaced, it became a puppet force. If the spirit race joined, it would become like this sooner or later. The elders had no real power, and the Netherworld Empire was the one who controlled the lifeline of the spirit race. Who would be willing to join? They would rather die than become the slaves of the Netherworld Empire. Some people in the spirit race had a different view. They wanted to join these powerful forces and choose to be superior. The polarization of the spirit race had evolved into the current situation. Yi Qingxuan's heart was in pain. If she didn't kill them, she wouldn't be able to quell the anger in her heart. As long as they refused the enlistment, they would be tortured and eventually die. Because of this, her heart became incomparably ruthless. Traitors would die. The Netherworld Empire would die. You don't have to blame yourself too much. Yi Tianyun came over and patted her on the shoulder, signaling her not to be so painful. Well, there is no need to blame yourself. They have to pay the price. Yi Qingxian turned her head and looked at Wu Peng, who was lying on the ground. He was seriously injured and couldn't get up. Wu Peng sobered up a little and stared at them. If you want to kill them, then kill them. Sooner or later, the Netherworld Empire will uproot your spirit race. As he spoke, he slammed his hand on the ground and actually bounced up, pouncing towards them. However, a kick had already arrived. With a bang sound, Wu Peng was heavily kicked into the huge log. His whole body was almost trampled into the huge log. With this sudden stomp, Wu Peng's injuries became even more serious. He was almost trampled to death. When you pretended to be seriously injured and couldn't get up, it was a bit too fake. Yi Tianyun looked at him and said coldly, "Don't worry, the one who will be uprooted is not the spirit race, but the Netherworld Empire." At the same time, the foot that had been stepping on Wu Peng began to frantically operate the absorbing star's great technique and began to extract the spiritual force from Wu Peng's body. The absorbing star great method didn't necessarily need the palm to be able to absorb the other party's spirit force. As long as the body touched it, it could absorb the other party's spirit force. However, compared to the feet and the like, the hands were undoubtedly easier to absorb and suppress the opponent. You. Wu Peng felt the terrifying suction force, causing the spiritual energy in his body to become weaker and weaker. His eyes that were previously filled with anger were now filled with fear. "Saintess, what do you want to do with him?" Yi Tianyun turned his head and looked at Yi Qingxian. "Kill him." Yi Qingxian answered without any hesitation. "No problem." Yi Tianyun's foot suddenly exerted force. Wu Peng's whole body was stepped into the giant wood a little bit. The originally so hard giant wood was also stepped by this overbearing force. Wu Peng's eyes widened, and he immediately lost his breath. Just this one stomp was enough to crush his internal organs and kill him on the spot. Ding successfully killed Wu Peng. Reward, 380. 000 EXP, 4300 Crazy Point, 300 SPS. Obtained Bloodthirsty Chop, Demon Blood Soaring to the Heavens. Obtained items, Scarlet Demon Blade, High-Grade Soul Tool, Nirvana Armor, 500. 000 EXP Pill. Immediately, Yi Tianyun skillfully took off Wu Peng's storage ring. "This is a good thing, how can he miss it? I can see that you are quite skilled in taking things," Yi Qingxian said while looking at Yi Tianyun. "This is nothing, there are a lot of good things in it, how can I let it go?" Yi Tianyun didn't even need to look at it to know that there are a lot of treasures inside, and they are all things that can be used to develop the sect. How can he waste them? By the way, your cultivation has reached core transformation stage? Yi Qingxian suddenly remembered something and asked. Yes, is there a problem? Yi Tianyun looked at her and said. No problem, your breakthrough speed is too fast. When I met you before, your cultivation was still very low. How did you cultivate? Yi Qingxian was very shocked. Yi Tianyun is stronger than her. I can't help it, I broke through. Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders and said. Okay. Yi Qingxian didn't continue to ask, but said, let's go to the next place and eliminate them one by one. There is not much time left for them, so they must quickly go to the next place, in case of any accidents. Immediately, they disappeared in place and continued to go deeper into the forest. What the hell is this place? Have you found a breakthrough point? Why can't you break this damn maze? Liao Cheng looked around vigilantly. He was worried that someone would suddenly sneak attack them. Lord Liao, we can't break it for the time being. It should be because the divine rune grand array has been repaired. It is difficult to break it. The spirit clan traitor who came with them said with a sad face. Aren't you people of the spirit clan? Why can't you even break this little thing? Liao Cheng said angrily. I brought you here to break this maze. Since the beginning, you have been useless. The spirit clan traitors were angry at the same time, but they could only maintain a smile on their faces. They didn't dare to get angry. We are a little familiar with this place, but when the maze is activated, even we can't break it easily. Moreover, it changes frequently, let alone us, even the elders will be trapped in it. This maze does not distinguish between friend and foe. As long as one doesn't understand the operation of the maze, even the elders will get lost in it. Damn, if Wu Peng and the others steal the credit, won't I be working for nothing? Liao Cheng couldn't help but kick the huge tree twice. He looked up at the sky and said, if only I can see the situation from the sky. He is a powerhouse of the core transformation stage. He can certainly fly, but there is no point in flying here. He can't see anything from the sky. They can escape from here, but they are here to seize the spirit clan's territory. There is no point in escaping. Don't worry, Wu Peng won't steal your credit. A young man suddenly appeared in front of them, startling them. Why? Liao Cheng didn't ask who the person was, he subconsciously asked. Because he is already dead. The corner of Yi Tianyun's mouth curved into an evil smile. Yi Qingxian, who was hiding in the dark, her eyes flashed, she was ready to sneak attack. The one who rushed out was naturally Yi Tianyun. He will attract their attention, then she will sneak attack. Originally, she wanted to go out to attract their attention, but Yi Tianyun didn't let her. The reason is very simple, it is too dangerous. Chapter 299. Hearing Yi Tianyun's answer, Liao Cheng was stunned for a moment, and then immediately flew into a rage. Who the hell are you? He quickly took out his weapon and stared at Yi Tianyun. Although he didn't know who the other party was, his natural vigilance made him raise his guard to the maximum, and he completely released his strength. The battle was about to begin. Do you still need to ask? Of course, I am the one who killed you. Yi Tianyun's eyes were cold, and he rushed towards Liao Cheng. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Liao Cheng and kicked him. Rising Dragon Foot. The power of the Dragon God's bloodline broke out, and he started to circulate the Dragon God's secret art, completely arousing the power of the Dragon God's bloodline. A domineering dragon shadow was released, and like a long dragon tail, it fiercely swung out. Super explosive power and amazing speed. After the combination of these two, it was as if a dragon was rolling up. Boom! Liao Wen was kicked by this swift and violent kick. Even if he was vigilant, the gap between him and Yi Tianyun was too big, and he didn't even have time to react before he was kicked away. At the same time, when the people in front were scared out of their wits, a silver light swept over from behind, bringing with it a burst of cold air. Following that, the traitors and guards behind them were all frozen by this cold ice, or severely injured by a heavy whip. The cooperation between the two was seamless, and they quickly killed this group of people with irresistible force. Why do I feel that you are so much stronger than most of the core transformation stage cultivators? Although Liao Cheng's cultivation is not very high, he was still at the 4th level of core transformation stage. How could you kill him in a few kicks? You didn't even need to use a weapon. The more Yi Qingxian watched Yi Tianyun fight, the more she found that his strength was getting stronger and stronger, and it seemed like this was not the limit. I can't help it, their bodies are too weak, and they died after a few kicks from me. Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders. Well, if it wasn't for your help, I really don't know how to deal with these core transformation stage cultivators. Although these core transformation realm cultivators were easily killed, it was because Yi Tianyun's strength was too strong. He didn't need to use crazy mode to kill cultivators at the same level as him. It wasn't that they were weak, it was that Yi Tianyun was too strong. In terms of battle power, Yi Tianyun's battle power was close to 2 million even without using his berserk mode and without equipping the Atlas set. On the other hand, Liao Cheng, who was at the 4th level of core transformation stage, was only worth 1.5 million. Under normal circumstances, both of them would be able to suppress each other's strength, let alone exploding it. The dragon god's bloodline burst out in one go. Coupled with the mysterious heaven divine art, his fists could be said to be extremely hard. He was not afraid of clashing head-on with a saber. I've said it before. With me here, you don't have to worry about them. Yi Tianyun grinned. It was so reassuring. Okay, let's go to the next place. Yi Qingshuan's beautiful eyes flickered. With Yi Tianyun's help, they couldn't completely eliminate the invaders this time. Immediately, under the leadership of Yi Qingxian, they quickly went to eliminate the next group of invaders. When they arrived, they saw that the spirit race had already started fighting with them. Combined with the disorienting grand array in the forest, they quickly escaped after attacking the invaders. Even if the other party had a core transformation stage powerhouse, they could still wander in the disorienting grand array. This was the benefit of repairing the disorienting grand array. However, it was meaningless to just wander around and disturb them. If they were not careful, they would still be caught. You came here and you still want to leave. At this time, a core transformation stage powerhouse rushed over and was about to catch the deacon of the spirit race who was escaping into the depths of the forest. Everything happened so suddenly that the deacon didn't even have time to react. The young man lifted his foot and kicked him. Bang! The core transformation stage powerhouse was sent flying by the kick, and his internal organs felt like they were being displaced. He was kicked to the point that he was half dead. Don't worry, I won't leave. I will play with you slowly. Yi Tianyun's mouth curved into a sneer. Seeing this, the hearts of the spirit race and the others trembled. Soon, the invaders were easily eliminated by them. Fortunately, they were separated. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. Before the divine rune grand array was repaired, they had to break it in batches. Who knew that once the disorienting grand array was repaired, they would immediately fall into a predicament. The invaders are basically all cleared. What's left is Lei Yun's group. The group with the most experts should be Lei Yun's group. Yi Qingshuan's beautiful eyes flickered. She tightened her grip on the silver whip. Even Yi Tianyun could feel the nervousness and anger in her heart. She was preparing to face Lei Yun. How could she not be nervous? How could she not be angry? Although the Netherworld Empire was the source of the betrayal, Lei Yun was the mastermind of the betrayal. Don't worry, no matter how many come, I will kill them all. Yi Tianyun's eyes flickered. He was ready for a fierce battle. At this time, the deacons of the spirit race gathered together and followed them to clean up the surrounding invaders. Especially those who were left behind. With their strength, it was quite easy for them to clean up. Most of the invaders were cleaned up. The only ones left were Lei Yun and the others who were destroying the divine rune grand array. They are here. I can feel it through the grand array. Yi Qingshuan's eyes were cold. She signaled them to stop and not get too close. They could still get close to the divine rune grand array, but they had to be careful when dealing with Lei Yun. But not long after they stopped, a deep and magnetic voice came from the front. Qingxian, there is no need to hide there. I have destroyed this area. I can see you. Yi Qingshuan's face darkened. She gestured for them to not move. Sometimes, they were just bluffing and tricking people out. This way, they would lose their advantage. Yi Tianyun looked up and saw a group of people in front of him. One of them was a strong man with divine runes engraved all over his body. Yi Tianyun could see the dense divine runes engraved on his arms. The voice came from his mouth. With the appraisal eye, Yi Tianyun could see the detailed information about him. Lei Yun, cultivation level 7 core transformation stage. His whole body is covered with thunder divine runes. He has excellent thunder attribute power. He is wearing a high-grade soul tool. His overall combat power is 3.8 million. Weakness can only be suppressed by earth attribute attacks. Martial arts, Thunder Dragon Flash, Thunder Dragon Spell, Thunder God's Descent, etc. Killing him can get Thunder Dragon Flash, Thunder Dragon Spell, Thunder God's Descent, Thunder God Set, etc. A level 7 core transformation stage cultivator has 3.8 million combat power. This is really against the natural order. The key was that he had so many thunder divine runes on his body. How could he be weak? Lei Yun's ability was also not weak. He was a divine rune grandmaster, so it was normal for him to engrave many divine runes on his body. Chapter 300. Lei Yun's strength didn't exceed Yi Tianyun's expectation. If Lei Yun wasn't strong enough, he wouldn't be able to become the leader of the spirit race's traitors, let alone compete with the spirit race. Without enough power, the Netherworld Empire wouldn't approve of him. The key point was that Lei Yun was so young, but he was already a divine rune grandmaster. So far, Lei Yun was only in his 30s, but he was already a divine rune grandmaster. His cultivation was at the 7th level of the core transformation stage. It was really unfortunate that he became a traitor, which was really unfortunate for the spirit race. In addition to Lei Yun, there were other strong cultivators who were at the 6th level of the core transformation stage, which was the same level as Lei Yun. They were the ministers of the Netherworld Empire, who came with Lei Yun. Nominally, they were going to help Lei Yun break into the spirit race, but more importantly, they were there to monitor the situation. Although Lei Yun had joined the Netherworld Empire, he still wouldn't completely trust the Netherworld Empire, so he would still send people to attack the spirit race. It could be said that in the whole team, there were two people who were worth paying attention to. One was Lei Yun, and the other was the minister. Lei Yun was very strong, but he couldn't be stronger than the ancestor of the Divine Rune Mansion. Oh, you don't want to come out? Do you really think this disorienting trace formation can trap me? Lei Yun sneered, and suddenly took a step forward. A lightning appeared in his hand, and he quickly threw it towards Yi Qingxian. Boom! A bolt of lightning burst out from his hand, bypassing several giant trees to attack them. Its speed was really too fast. It was really bombarding towards them, and it wasn't just carelessly yelling. Yi Qingxuan's expression changed. Just as she was about to wave the silver whip in her hand to disperse the lightning bolt, a large hand had already grabbed it and directly crushed the lightning bolt. It seems that this disorienting grand array is useless against him, Yi Tianyun said as he waved his hand casually. They all looked at Yi Tianyun's palm. His palm was hit by the lightning, but it didn't even have a scratch on it. Although the heavenly lightning was not very powerful, it was definitely not weak. When it struck Yi Tianyun's palm, nothing happened. Oh! To think that there would be such a helper. His strength is quite strong. Lei Yun's voice rang out from afar as he led his men over. It was obvious that he could see them. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to attack them, or he might have sensed that they were in this area. In this way, a sneak attack would lose its meaning. Lei Yun is very familiar with this place. This disorienting grand formation is of some use to him, but he can sense it in a small area. Previously, when the Great Disorientation Formation failed, he was basically the one who broke it. From the looks of it, even if the Great Disorienting Formation is repaired, he will still be able to see the situation around him clearly. It is not very possible to ambush him. Yi Qingxuan's face was gloomy. This result was not too unexpected. The thundercloud they were facing was just too strong. Originally, Lei Yun's talent was already extremely high, not to mention that he was a Grandmaster Divine Inscriptionist. Although he couldn't destroy the runes, he wouldn't be greatly affected. Don't worry, I didn't intend to ambush you from the beginning. Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently, and immediately a cold ice divine bow appeared in his hand. Extreme cold chi was released from the bow, which made Yi Qingxuan's eyes light up. Yi Qingxian also cultivated the cold attribute, so she felt more familiar with the bow. After taking out the Ice Divine bow, Yi Tianyun quickly pulled the Ice Divine bow, and a thick Ice Divine arrow appeared in his hand. He spent 5,000 crazy points at once to condense an ice fury. Go! Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed with a cold light, and then the Ice Divine arrow pierced through the air. Wherever it went, it was frozen, and finally blasted at an extremely fast speed towards Lei Yun. The expression of Lei Yun, who was walking over, immediately changed. He shouted, "Dodge!" Lei Yun was the first to dodge, but the ministers on the side couldn't dodge so fast, because the speed of sound transmission is not as fast as the Ice Divine arrow. By the time they reacted, the frost's fury had already pierced through and smashed into their bodies. Boom! A terrifying snowstorm rose into the sky from that side, and the heavy snow rolled out in all directions. After a while, it calmed down a little in the distance. At this moment, a large area in the distance had been frozen. It was as if a snowstorm had just occurred and frozen the entire area. Ding successfully killed Netherworld Empire's minister Mu Yun, gained 390,000 EXP, 4,600 crazy points, 200 SPS. Obtained Netherworld Secret Art, Heaven Flipping Palm. Obtained Heavenly Moon Sword, Heavenly Feather Boots, 100,000 EXP Pill. Ding successfully killed Spirit Race Traitor, gained 240,000 EXP, 3,100 crazy points, 100 SPS, 400 Divine Rune Mastery. Obtained. Ding successfully killed, with just one arrow. Most of the people were killed, even the ministers who just arrived were killed, and they didn't even have time to react before they died. This is a matter of course. Yi Tianyun used crazy damage mode, and when the arrow burst out, it completely blew them away. Even if they didn't die, they would be frozen into ice sculptures. Isn't this too powerful? The spirit race powerhouses who followed behind Yi Tianyun were ready to fight to the death, but they didn't expect that the arrow would freeze a large area. Although they didn't feel it personally, but from the cold air that came from the arrow, they knew that the power of the arrow is quite amazing. They can imagine that if they were hit by it, they will die without a doubt. Yi Qingxuan's eyes widened. She knew that Yi Tianyun must be very powerful, but she didn't expect him to be this powerful. In the next moment, Yi Tianyun's eyes turned cold. He picked up the Ice Divine bow in his hand and slashed horizontally to the side, and a light blue cold light rolled towards the side. Dang! A figure was hit flying, and at this time, everyone saw a flash of lightning on the side. They don't know when Lei Yun already arrived here, and he even launched a sneak attack. However, Yi Tianyun saw through it, and he even counterattacked. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Lei Yun's body was frozen, but the lightning divine patterns on his body kept flashing, evaporating the cold air on his body, and he didn't suffer too much damage, mainly because he dodged in time. Otherwise, this arrow would have pierced through his body. Who are you, and which faction do you belong to? Lei Yun took a few cold breaths, and stared at Yi Tianyun, not daring to relax at all. If he continued to shoot him with that arrow, he will be in trouble. Of course I am from the spirit race. Is there a problem? Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently. Impossible. You are not from the spirit race at all. Lei Yun stared at him and said, "What price did the spirit race pay to invite you over? How much did the spirit race pay you? I will hire you at double, no, more than triple the price." Really? You can pay more to invite me over? Yi Tianyun pretended to be a bit surprised. Of course, I have the Netherworld Empire behind me. You can ask for anything you want. Lei Yun saw that Yi Tianyun was moved, and his face was full of joy. The other spirit race people's faces changed. Is this human going to be a fence-sitter? They looked at Yi Qingxian, but found that Yi Qingxuan's expression was indifferent. She didn't look anxious at all. Chapter 301. You tricked me. Lei Yun was stunned for a moment, then he immediately became furious. I'm backed by the Netherworld Empire. Do you know what kind of stupid thing you're doing to fight against an empire? The deacons of the spirit race were relieved. They thought that Yi Tianyun would run away for the reward, but it turned out that he was just tricking them. From the very beginning, Yi Qingxian knew that Yi Tianyun was deliberately playing with them. If he really wanted to help them for the reward, he would have already run away. I don't know what stupid thing I have done, And I don't want to fight with the Netherworld Empire. Who wants to fight with the Netherworld Empire? Yi Tianyun said with a smile. It is your Netherworld Empire who provoked me and wanted to kill me. So, why don't we fight together? The Netherworld Empire offended you? Lei Yun was confused. He didn't know what had happened, but he understood that there was hatred between Netherworld Empire and Netherworld Empire. Lei Yun, Yi Qingxian said with anger. You have destroyed our spirit race again and again. What do you want to do? Do you want to betray the spirit race for the illusory glory? Betray the spirit race? Lei Yun looked at her with disdain. I am not betraying the spirit race at all, I am leading the spirit race to glory. A group of stubborn old men, what's the point of staying here? Dominate the whole continent, get more resources, become stronger, this is the real future. Just like what the old ancestor said, you are too impetuous and not suitable to inherit the throne of the spirit race. Yi Qingxian said with a cold smile. The real strength is not by betraying the race, but by relying on yourself. In order to get more resources, you sold the spirit race, and now you are telling me that is the real future? Shut up. Lei Yun said angrily. Don't mention that old man in front of me, you are all stubborn old men, too impetuous, it is you who are too stubborn. What qualifications does he have to pass the throne of the spirit race to Di Chen? What do you mean by passing the throne to Di Chen? Are you kidding me? Yi Qingxian coldly said, you are the only candidate for the throne, Di Chen is not a candidate at all, but your heart is too impetuous, you can only temporarily put it aside. You actually think that the position of Spirit King will be passed to Di Chen? Looks like you can't get the throne, so you chose to betray us. If that's really the case, then I'm really glad that you haven't taken the throne. Otherwise, the spirit race would have been destroyed by you sooner or later. Yi Qingxian smiled coldly and became even angrier. Shut up. Lei Yun took a few steps back, his expression uncertain. Yi Qingxuan's news was a heavy blow to him, but soon his face turned gloomy and he said, the spirit race is in my hands, it will not be destroyed, it will only become more prosperous. I am now the strongest divine rune master in the Netherworld Empire, and I am preparing to become the Prime Minister. When the time comes, there will be a seat for me in the Netherworld Empire. With the help of the Netherworld Empire, the Spirit Clan will prosper. What a joke, what a joke. Lei Yun, you have been blinded by power, and even more so by anger. The Netherworld Empire is only interested in the spirit race's inherited divine runes, once they get it, they will only abandon it. Yi Qingxian coldly said, I will give you one last chance to redeem yourself, save the ancestor and the others, then you can reduce your sins. Ha ha ha, Lei Yun laughed loudly, and tears almost came out of his eyes, which made Yi Qingxian frown, she didn't know what was wrong with Lei Yun. Yi Tianyun coldly looked at Lei Yun, if Yi Qingxian didn't want to ask him, he would have already punched Lei Yun. No matter what the reason was, a traitor couldn't be forgiven. Release the ancestor and the others. Lei Yun's laughter gradually stopped, he coldly looked at them and said, don't talk nonsense, the ancestor has been corroded by 10,000 poisons, if this continues, with the help of the soul-searching technique, we will be able to find all the divine runes, then all the secrets of the spirit race will belong to us, right? If you hadn't been rescued, I would have let you try the poison, that taste. Pervert, beast, what did you do to the ancestor? Yi Qingxuan's face changed, the worst situation has happened, that is, the ancestor is already very old, he will definitely be tortured, and with the help of the soul-searching technique, he will definitely die. Nothing, since you don't want to say anything, I can only use the soul-searching technique. Now, all of you will die. Lei Yun walked a few steps and sneered, now, all of you will die for me. In the next moment, Lei Yun stomped his foot on the ground. Suddenly, a dazzling light bloomed at the place he was standing before, forming a lightning-shaped divine rune. It was unknown when he had actually finished setting up a divine rune array here. Lei Yun was indeed a genius in divine rune, he reached the level of a divine rune master at such a young age, just by walking back and forth a few steps, he has already quietly arranged a divine rune array. On the surface, he said so much, but secretly, he planned to attack them. Boom! At this time, a terrible lightning burst out from the surrounding in an instant, and combined with the power of Lei Yun, suddenly burst out an attack of the 8th or 9th level of core transformation stay. This situation scared the Spirit Clan, and they hurriedly tried to resist, but it was too late to escape. No matter how fast they ran, they were not as fast as the lightning power. Yi Tianyun's face didn't change, and with a boom sound, a burst of power shook the rapidly condensing divine rune array, and the divine rune array was shattered. What is going on? Lei Yun was about to mobilize all of his power to attack, but who knew that the divine rune array disappeared in the blink of an eye? With this level of strength, you dare to play divine rune array in front of me? Yi Tianyun shook his head and said, "From the beginning, when you first started to walk, I knew that you were setting up a divine rune array, and if Qingxian didn't want to ask, I would have already slapped you to death." Immediately, he turned his head and looked at the stunned Yi Qingxian and continued, "What else do you want to ask? If you want to ask, I will catch him first, and then you can ask slowly. Then I will have to trouble you." Yi Qingxian didn't know what to say, and just as she was about to block the attack, she didn't expect that Yi Tianyun would immediately break through. In the next moment, Yi Tianyun raised the ice divine bow, aimed at Lei Yun, and fiercely shot 3 arrows, quickly piercing through. Lei Yun quickly dodged to the side. The divine rune array on his body gave him an extremely fast speed boost, and he was much faster than those of the same level. However, Yi Tianyun's speed was even faster, and with a boom sound, the ground caved in, and then he turned into a fierce dragon and pounced over. In an instant, the distance between them was shortened, and he raised his hand to grab Lei Yun. "Die for me." Lei Yun's eyes flashed with lightning, and a divine rune array was held in his hand, and he threw it in Yi Qingxuan's direction. With a boom sound, a few dozen feet wide lightning bolt fiercely struck in Yi Qingxuan's direction, but Yi Tianyun raised his hand and punched, completely ignoring it. Boom! This divine rune array hit Yi Tianyun's fist, and the thick lightning flowed along his fist, surging into his body. "Idiot, let's see if you can survive this time." Lei Yun was delighted. He didn't expect that Yi Tianyun would take his attack head-on. Who knew that Yi Tianyun ignored the lightning, and continued to rush over, and also punch. With a boom, Lei Yun was sent flying, and crashed into a huge tree, his chest slightly caved in. He didn't use too much strength, mainly to catch him alive. Chapter 302. The power of the Thunder and Lightning Divine Rune Talisman is not bad, but against Yi Tianyun's heaven-defying defense, the effect is really negligible. Lei Yun, who was sent flying, quickly bounced up from the ground, clutching his chest. Yi Tianyun's punch caused his injury to be quite serious. The most important thing is that his own power has no effect on Yi Tianyun. This heaven-defying power makes him feel powerless. "I won't say anything about obediently surrendering. I will beat you until you surrender." Yi Tianyun closed in step by step. Previously, he wanted to use instant transmission to sneak attack Lei Yun, but thinking that there are so many people here watching, he temporarily chose to give up this action. "I can't lose." Lei Yun sensed the approaching danger and roared. The thunder and lightning divine runes on his body frantically released. Dense thunder and lightning flowed on the surface of his body, and even a few lightning bolts were released from his body, striking the ground and giant trees, all of which were scorched black. Just the place where he was standing was bombarded by the power of thunder and lightning. His battle power soared crazily, but this is really meaningless to Yi Tianyun. Thunder God's descent. Lei Yun clenched his fist, and with a loud bang, a divine thunder fell from the sky and struck his body. In an instant, his power suddenly increased by several times. His battle power directly rushed to tens of millions of battle power, and the terrifying power caused people's hearts to tremble. Originally, the divine runes on his body were already very amazing, but after using the divine art, with the support of heaven and earth power, his battle power soared. The next moment, a long spear appeared in his hand, and without the slightest hesitation, he rushed towards Yi Tianyun. Thunder Dragon Flash. Roar. A phantom of a thunder dragon condensed from the power of thunder and lightning on his body, and Lei Yun's whole body turned into a huge thunder dragon, roaring towards Yi Shiwen. The long spear in his hand was like the mouth of a huge dragon, biting down towards Yi Shiwen. Everything happened too fast. The power of thunder and lightning originally had the effect of increasing speed, so they couldn't see Lei Yun's speed at all. In an instant, He had already arrived in front of Yi Tianyun. Die. Lei Yun's eyes were filled with the power of thunder and lightning, holding the long spear tightly and stabbing it towards Yi Tianyun's chest. The tip of the spear was filled with extreme killing intent, like a divine thunder. Yi Tianyun stood motionless, and the moment the tyrannical long spear stabbed towards him, Yi Tianyun grabbed the long spear tightly. The lightning in the long spear disappeared in an instant, and it became a normal high-grade soul tool. Even the power of thunder and lightning on Lei Yun's body was continuously absorbed by Yi Tianyun. How can this be? Lei Yun was shocked. His attack had no effect at all. Especially the power of thunder and lightning, it had actually disappeared. He could clearly see that when Yi Tianyun grabbed his long spear, the power of thunder and lightning on it seemed to have found an outlet, and immediately rushed out. But it didn't cause any damage to Yi Tianyun. Come here. Lei Yun could clearly see that when Yi Tianyun grabbed his long spear, the power of thunder and lightning on it seemed to have found an outlet, and immediately rushed out. But it didn't cause any damage to Yi Tianyun at all. Come here. Yi Tianyun suddenly dragged the long spear over, and then fiercely smashed it into the ground. With a dong sound, Lei Yun was heavily smashed into the ground, and the ground was smashed so hard that a large hole appeared. Then he pulled out the long spear and threw it to the side. After the spear spun a few times, it fiercely sank into the giant tree, and only half of the spear was exposed outside. It was enough to see that the degree of sharpness was quite shocking. Yi Tianyun said as he reached out to grab him, trying to control him. Okay, you're going to be a good boy and stay here. Get lost. Lei Yun roared, and the thunder and lightning divine runes on his body instantly detonated. The crazy power of thunder and lightning, as if it had been stored for a long time, was released all at once. The divine thunder soared to the sky, and its power was a bit stronger than before. Quickly dodge, that is the power of thunder and lightning that he has stored for a long time, Yi Qingxian hurriedly reminded. In addition to enhancing his strength, the thunder and lightning divine runes on Lei Yun's body can also store the tyrannical power of thunder and lightning. Originally, his physique was already amazing, and from time to time, he would release an amazing power of thunder and lightning. Therefore, he needed the thunder and lightning divine runes to suppress and store it in the divine runes. If he released it all at once when his life was in danger, it wouldn't be difficult for him to fight someone of a higher rank. The current attack was the best proof, and its power suddenly soared to 16 million battle power. It was unknown how long the power had been stored for, but it burst out with such an amazing power. However, a bolt of lightning pierced through and directly hit Yi Tianyun's body. His body was enveloped by lightning, and it was so dazzling that people couldn't open their eyes. Many people were stunned, and Lei Yun's face was even more ferocious. He felt that he had succeeded in electrocuting Yi Tianyun to death. Tianyun. Yi Qingxian bit her lip and pounced towards Yi Tianyun without hesitation. She didn't care about the terrifying lightning at all. Saintess, don't go over. They quickly tried to stop Yi Qingxian, but she was too fast, and they couldn't stop her at all. However, by the time Yi Qingxian pounced, the lightning had already disappeared, and instead, she was in Yi Tianyun's arms. Calm down, do you think this broken lightning can hurt me? Yi Tianyun hugged Yi Qingxian with a faint smile on his face. He held a pearl in his hand, which was flickering with lightning. All the lightning just now was absorbed by this pearl, and this pearl was the heavenly thunder divine pearl obtained from killing the divine inscription mansion's old ancestor. The most magical thing about this thing is that it can absorb the power of lightning. As long as the power of lightning is not very strong, it can absorb as much as it comes, and it won't refuse anything. Stored in this heavenly thunder divine pearl, it can not only be used for cultivation, but also to defend against enemies. Lei Yun's attack just now made him quickly take out this heavenly thunder divine pearl and absorb all the power of lightning, leaving nothing behind. Therefore, the seemingly terrifying power of lightning just now, not to mention injuring him, it was all absorbed and stored in this heavenly thunder divine pearl, and there was no problem at all. What the hell is this thing? When Lei Yun saw the heavenly thunder divine pearl in Yi Tianyun's hand, he was incomparably shocked. He released such a strong power of lightning, but it was actually absorbed. Chapter 303. Impossible. This is impossible. Lei Yun roared. He slapped the ground and charged towards Yi Qingyu. The lightning divine marks on his body were completely released. All of a sudden, all the divine marks were released from their shackles. All the lightning energy gathered into a thick bolt of lightning and shot towards Yi Qingyu. A huge lightning dragon opened its mouth and swallowed Yi Qingxian. The terrifying lightning energy was so strong that even the deacons of the spirit race who were standing far away could feel it. They were all charging towards Yi Tianyun. Sainters! They all exclaimed, but they didn't dare to get close. It wasn't that they didn't want to help, but with their strength, even if they got close, they would die. How could they help? All of you, go to hell. Lei Yun's face was full of ferocity. He looked at Yi Tianyun and the others who were covered in lightning and sneered. Even if Yi Qingxian was killed, he didn't feel any pity. To him, all of this was no longer important. So long as they went against him, then only death awaited them. After a short while, the lightning quickly disappeared and was absorbed into the heavenly thunder divine pearl. What he saw was Yi Tianyun's mocking expression. I told you, this is useless. If your heavenly thunder divine pearl was dozens of times stronger, I wouldn't have been able to do anything. Unfortunately, its power is too weak. The two of them were completely fine. The heavenly thunder divine pearl had absorbed all of it. Nothing was left. The terrifying effect of the heavenly thunder divine pearl made them widen their eyes. Such a terrifying effect, could it be that it had reached the level of a divine tool? This. Lei Yun was stunned. He thought that he would see two corpses, but what he saw was two people who were completely unharmed. All the lightning energy he released was sucked dry. He had already released all the lightning energy in the lightning divine marks on his body. There was no attack left. At most, he could only use normal attacks. Other than that, there was still lightning attack. However, the strongest lightning energy had been released. How could normal attacks be effective against Yi Tianyun? Impossible, impossible, impossible. Lei Yun roared as he sent a punch towards Yi Tianyun. His entire body swelled up as he sent a violent punch towards Yi Tianyun. The power of lightning surrounded his body. I like to compete with fist. Yi Tianyun gently pushed Yi Qingxian away, and then fiercely punched Lei Yun's fist. The expressions of the others changed. The spiritual race deacons hurriedly shouted from the side. Don't compete with him with your fists, he's very strong. Before he could finish his sentence, their fists had already collided. With a dong sound, Lei Yun was sent flying and slammed into a giant tree. His entire arm was twisted off. Obviously, under this punch, Lei Yun's power was much weaker than Yi Tianyun's, and he was completely killed in one hit. Everyone suddenly fell silent. They were kind enough to remind him, but now they realized that there was no need to remind him at all. Yi Tianyun's strength was also strong enough. Without the heavenly thunder deity pearl, he could still suppress Lei Yun. At the next moment, Yi Tianyun did not waste time talking nonsense with him. He rushed up to Lei Yun. Before Lei Yun could get up, he had already kicked his dantian heavily. The violent power gathered at one point and then exploded in his dantian. Bang! Lei Yun was heavily pressed against the giant tree. His face was full of pain, and then he screamed, You destroyed my dantian. Cough, cough, cough. After saying that, he kept coughing up blood and was in extreme pain. Yi Tianyun destroyed his dantian, which meant that he was temporarily disabled. If he wanted to recover his dantian and be able to cultivate, he would need at least the 5th grade elixir. However, the price was not only high, but also the difficulty of recovering his previous cultivation was not small. After destroying his dantian, Lei Yun was much more stable. Without his cultivation, what was left was a good physique, but it was much easier to control. If I don't destroy your dantian, am I supposed to beat you up? Idiot! Yi Tianyun sneered, turned to Yi Qingxian and said, I'll leave him to you. How you want to deal with him is your business. Okay. Yi Qingxian nodded. Her eyes were focused on Lei Yun, and there was a hint of coldness in her beautiful eyes. Lei Yun, it's time to settle this score. After saying that, she swung the silver whip in her hand and wrapped it around Lei Yun, completely turning him into a prisoner. Qingxian, if you don't let me go back, Be careful of the ancestor and the rest. Lei Yun did not forget to threaten at this time. Slap. Yi Qingxian slapped Lei Yun heavily, and his mouth was full of blood. How dare you hit me? Slap. Yi Qingxian slapped him heavily again without mercy, and a few of his teeth were knocked out. So what if I hit you? Not killing you right away is the greatest mercy I can give you. Yi Qingxian looked at him coldly, then immediately turned around and dragged him back, and said, "Let's go back to the tribe first." Yes. They followed one after another, and the big stone in their heart was lifted a little bit. This group of invaders was eliminated by them, and now the only thing left to do was to plan how to save the ancestor and the rest. Ding. Successfully completed Rescue the Spirit Race Quest 3, Repel the Invaders of the Netherworld Empire. Reward, 300. 000 EXP, 100. 000 CPS, 5. 000 SPS, 50 Spirit Race Favorability. Ding. Successfully accepted Rescue Spirit Race Quest 4, Rescue Spirit Race Imprisoned in Netherworld Empire Quest. Reward, 500. 000 EXP, 200. 000 CPS, 5. 000 SPS, 50 Spirit Race Favorability. After the third quest was completed, the fourth quest immediately appeared, which was not beyond Yi Tianyun's expectation. He knew that the spirit race still had a lot of things to do, such as saving people was a must. If he wanted to become the king of the spirit race, he must become the savior of the entire spirit race. This was the only way to convince them to accept him as their king. However, this was only his guess, and whether he could succeed or not, he still had to see how difficult it was to save the spirit race. Soon they returned to the spirit race, and many of the spirit race people gathered around them, and when they saw Lei Yun was captured, they showed anger. It was all because of him that the spirit race was in this situation. When they knew that this was all done by Yi Tianyun, they were shocked, and at the same time, their favorability skyrocketed, and Yi Tianyun's reputation was completely spread here. Chapter 304. On the way to the pagoda, the people of the spirit clan cursed at Lei Yun, saying that he was ungrateful, despicable, and selfish. If Yi Qingxian hadn't stopped them, they would have already cut Lei Yun into pieces. Even though they were of the same race, this fellow was a complete scourge. He had brought disaster upon the spirit race. The root cause was the Netherworld Empire, but if it wasn't for Lei Yun, the spirit clan wouldn't be in such a miserable state. If they were united, even the Netherworld Empire wouldn't dare to go against them. The spirit clan's strength was not weak, and their connections were not weak either. This time, the Netherworld Empire had the upper hand. Even if they had good connections, they wouldn't dare to help the spirit clan. Now that the spirit clan was in such a miserable state, it would be meaningless to help them. Yi Tianyun had seen this. If it wasn't for his help, the most they could do was launch a sneak attack. It would be impossible for them to drive the invaders away. Lei Yun alone was enough to suppress them. Originally, their trip this time was to completely suppress the spirit tribe. They did not expect that someone would appear out of nowhere and repair the divine inscriptions. Moreover, they even helped to clean up the mess. If Yi Tianyun didn't come, this place would still be able to resist for a while, but it would be impossible to resist for a long time. Yi Qingxian fiercely swung the silver whip in her hand. Lei Yun was sent flying and landed in the middle of the hall. At this time, Elder Yang had already come down. When he saw Lei Yun, his eyes were filled with anger. He wanted to kill him. Lei Yun, tell me everything you know. The key to the prison, the location of the elders and the ancestors, all the plans of the Netherworld Empire, tell me everything. Elder Yang's killing intent surged as he pressed down on Lei Yun. Since Lei Yun's cultivation had been destroyed, he was forced to kneel on the ground under the pressure. He couldn't struggle at all. This humiliation caused him to bite his lips so hard that they bled. However, he was unable to struggle. He was once an elder, and he was even a genius of his generation. When had he ever suffered such humiliation? Ha ha ha. You want me to tell you? Impossible. But I can tell you that the key to the prison is with General Long. Hurry up and get it. Lei Yun laughed loudly. Even though his cultivation had been crippled, he still revealed a look of disdain and looked down on them. General Long. Yi Qingshuan's brows wrinkled. They were enemies of the Netherworld Empire, so they naturally knew about General Long's power. The cultivation of a general was definitely not weak. His cultivation was definitely at the peak of core transformation stage. He was definitely at the 9th layer or even the void spirit stage. If he didn't have this level of cultivation, he wouldn't have been allowed to be a commander no matter how outstanding he was. Because no matter how outstanding the commander's ability was, if the other side sent an expert, they would still be able to take his head. Sometimes, the great general had to personally take action to kill all the invaders. That's right, it's General Long. If you have the ability, go and rob him to open the prison gate. Lei Yun said mockingly, don't worry, they will attack very soon. When there is no news from us for a long time, they will immediately attack. I will give you one last chance to surrender and join the Netherworld Empire. This is your last chance. Lei Yun knew that they couldn't snatch the key from the hands of a terrifying existence. He also knew that they were weak, so he threatened them. And you, aren't you very strong? When General Long comes with a group of strong people, you will know how weak you are. Helping the spirit race will be the biggest mistake of your life. Lei Yun sneered and said. Everyone's face suddenly changed. If General Long personally led a group of people to attack them, the spirit race would definitely fall. Slap. A heavy slap landed on Lei Yun's face. When everyone reacted, they found out that it was Yi Tianyun who slapped Lei Yun's face. They didn't expect that it was Yi Tianyun who slapped Lei Yun instead of Yi Qingxian. I feel that sparing your life is my biggest mistake. Yi Tianyun said indifferently. If you are tired of looking at him, you can leave him to me. I will help you get rid of him. In other people's ears, they thought that they didn't have the heart to kill Lei Yun, so they wanted him to do it himself. In fact, Lei Yun was a lot of experience for him, and he had a lot of divine rune mastery experience, so how could he let it go? There's no need. We will imprison him in the ice realm of the spirit tribe and let him suffer the pain of being frozen to death. Yi Qingshuan's gaze turned into a cold light that wanted to pierce through him. Ice territory. Lei Yun's face changed. How could he not know what kind of place the ice territory was? The deeper he went, the more pain he felt. His body was slowly being frozen. It felt like he was being pierced by countless sharp thorns, and it lasted for a long time until he was completely frozen. During the whole process, he stayed awake and felt the intense pain, which made him wish he was dead. In the end, he would still die, but he had already suffered too much pain, so he wanted to die. All right then. Yi Tianyun felt a little helpless. This was a divine rune master's divine rune mastery. Just a little bit more mastery was enough for him to improve his divine rune mastery. Take him to the ice territory. Yi Qingxian waved her hand and signaled her people to take him away. Yes, Saintess. They nodded and dragged Lei Yun away. Without his cultivation, Lei Yun was like a child, he couldn't struggle at all. You are dead. The spirit race will be destroyed in your hands. Only I can lead the spirit race to glory. Lei Yun kept struggling, and his face was full of anger and unwillingness. If you don't let me go, the old ancestor will die, and you will also die. Yi Qingxian and the others turned a deaf ear to Lei Yun's threat. As long as they were not fools, they knew that even if they let Lei Yun go, they would not be able to free the old ancestor. The spirit race fell into the hands of the Netherworld Empire, which meant that the Netherworld Empire would be in charge of the spirit race. Moreover, could Lei Yun's words be trusted? Would letting him go save everything? Saintess, what should we do now? If we continue like this, the Netherworld Empire will definitely send a lot of strong people to suppress us. Elder Yang looked at Yi Qingxian and asked. Yi Qingxian was silent, she didn't know what to do. She always felt a sense of helplessness. In the face of the huge Netherworld Empire, she felt very powerless. Don't worry, we should go and rescue the old ancestor while they don't know the news. At this time, Yi Tianyun, who was an outsider, interrupted. Everyone was startled and looked at him strangely. Everyone wanted to save the old ancestor, but did they have the key? Of course we know this, but we don't have the key. Even if we sneak in, we can't open the prison. Yi Qingxian sighed. Chapter 305. Yi Tianyun's words didn't cause too much of a commotion. They all shook their heads. That's right, we don't even have the key, how can we go in and save people? What? You have the key. Elder Yang and the others are wondering if they heard it wrong, they just said it subconsciously, and when they reacted, they realized that Yi Tianyun actually has a key. You really have the key? Yi Qingxian had a weird expression on her face. Yi Tianyun was like a savior sent by the heavens. Not only did he help them get rid of the intruders, he even had the key to the prison. I do have it. When I went to Dragon Gathering City, I killed Cheng Feng and found the key. Yi Tianyun wasn't lying. He did get the key after killing Cheng Feng. However, it was dropped and not found on his body. You killed Cheng Feng? Yi Qingxian thought for a while and exclaimed, could it be that you were behind what happened in Dragon Gathering City? Am I behind what? I am helping the people get rid of the evil. Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders. Friend, were you the one who caused the destruction of so many factions, including the 2 ministers, as well as the burning of the Dragon Gathering City? Elder Yang asked. That's right, it was me. Yi Tianyun didn't have anything to hide. The people here were all core members and it was impossible for there to be a spy. Even if there was a spy, he didn't have to worry. His current face was fake, there was no need to worry about anything. Elder Yang had a weird expression on his face. Although he knew that Yi Tianyun was powerful, he was shocked when he heard that it was this young man in front of him who caused such a huge commotion. If anyone dared to say that he was a spy, Elder Yang would be the first to kill him, burning the Dragon Gathering City's palace and getting rid of so many factions. Even if he wanted to sneak into the spirit race, he would have to pay a huge price. Everyone had a strange expression on their faces. They were wondering what the Netherworld Empire had done to provoke him to do such a thing. Is there a problem with that? Yi Tianyun asked. That's not a problem. They didn't ask why Yi Tianyun did such a thing, but they knew that Yi Tianyun had a deep hatred for the Netherworld Empire. As long as there are no problems. When do you plan to act? The sooner the better. While they don't know what's going on here, let's act quickly, Yi Tianyun said in a deep voice. They all nodded. Previously, they were worried about the problem of the key. Now that they had the key, they could enter. By the way, is young Master Yi sure that the key is the key to open the prison? Elder Yang asked curiously. I'm not too sure. I only know that it's the key to the prison. Yi Tianyun thought for a moment before saying, because there are too many uncertainties, I think it's better to move as few people as possible. How about this? I'll go with Qingxian. How about this? Elder Yang frowned. If the key was fake, they would be in danger, especially Yi Qingxian. She was the future hope of the spirit tribe. No problem, I'll go with you. Yi Qingxian agreed without hesitation. The fewer people, the better. If a large group of people went in, they would definitely be discovered. In fact, Yi Tianyun wanted to go alone. Not only did he know how to teleport, but he was also very strong. As long as it wasn't a void spirit stage expert, he would be able to deal with them. His concealment ability was top-notch, very few people would be able to discover him. However, if he went alone, it would be troublesome if the spirit race didn't come out with him. Moreover, they needed someone to lead them out, and he would stand in front of them. This was the best solution. Saintus. Elder Yang was about to say something, but Yi Qingxian shook her head and interrupted him. Don't say anything, there won't be a problem. If we don't do this now, we won't have a chance. Yi Qingxian knew the seriousness of the situation. The longer they waited, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. All right, I'll stay here and guard. Elder Yang gritted his teeth and said, even if I die, I will protect the spirit tribe. Us too, even if we die, we will protect the spirit tribe. The other spirit tribe members said in a firm tone. Good. Yi Qingxian said. Then let's get ready, we'll leave immediately. Everyone nodded and began to prepare. Yi Qingxian and Yi Tianyun had their own arrangements. Yi Qingxian didn't prepare much. She only prepared some pills and some equipment. She didn't prepare anything else. This time, I'm very happy that you helped me. You helped me before, and this time, you've saved the entire spirit tribe. I don't know how to repay you. After Yi Qingxian finished preparing, her silver eyes reflected Yi Tianyun's figure. Yi Tianyun saw endless gratitude in her eyes. If it wasn't for him, the spirit tribe really wouldn't be able to resist. Yi Tianyun smiled and patted his chest, then pointed to his head. Didn't you reward me? Not only do I have the inner eye, but I also have the memory of the divine sigil. Even the divine sigil that Lei Yun desired is in my head. Isn't that enough? That was the reward last time, it's different this time. Yi Qingxian shook her head and said, I thought about it, the only thing I can give you is the position of Spirit King. The position of Spirit King. Yi Tianyun was stunned. He didn't expect this to come out of her mouth. Yes, you have my talent. You have amazing talent in divine sigil, and you have amazing strength. I want you to become the Spirit King of the Spirit Tribe. Yi Qingxuan's expression became serious. As long as you can save all the Spirit Tribe members, even if you're an outsider, you can still become the Spirit King of the Spirit Tribe. Why me? Isn't there an Emperor Chen? Even Lei Yun couldn't become a Spirit King because he was too impulsive. I'm an outsider, can I? Yi Tianyun knew that he had to go to this step, but he wanted to hear Yi Qingxuan's reason. I don't know why, but I feel that you can lead the Spirit Tribe to glory, Yi Qingxian said in a low voice. Of course, it's not that easy to become the Spirit King. Many people in the tribe will oppose it, but I want to support you to become our king. Commander points are too high. Yi Tianyun remembered that he had the Commander Grimoire. In addition, he had completed a few missions and earned a lot of commander points, which gave him more authority. What commander points? Yi Qingxian asked curiously. It's okay. We'll talk about this after we save all the Spirit Tribe members. If we don't save them, everything else is useless. Yi Tianyun smiled faintly. But before that, I want to receive a reward. Is that possible? You even saved the entire Spirit Tribe. We can give you any reward. Yi Qingxian asked curiously, what is it?